Welcome, welcome, crew, guys, gals, ghouls, and otherworldly beings. Let's climb aboard the mothership, secure our tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your ghostess with the mostest, TessaTNT, broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to have you hanging out with me on the airwaves tonight. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it, or working out, feel free to find me basically wherever you listen to your broadcasts and podcasts, and you should be able to find me there under We Are Paradox Media. Alright, so I wanted to go through our top 4 as well as our top 24. So for the top 24, we have the USA, the UK, Bangladesh, Brazil, Canada, Italy, Argentina, Australia, India, Pakistan, Vietnam, Azerbaijan, Benin, Ecuador, Indonesia, Jamaica, Kenya, South Korea, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Turkey, Taiwan, Uzbekistan, and South Africa. For our top 4 on downloads, number 1, Brazil. Actually, it's number 1, USA, number 2, Brazil, number 3, Canada, and number 4, Australia. Thanks for downloading and listening. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. You're wonderful. On another note, man, just when you think it can't get any worse, put Nepal in your prayers if you could. This crazy, I guess it was an iceberg, breakup of an iceberg that turned into somewhat like a tsunami, flash flood sort of thing, and took out quite a bit of Tibet. Well, it's actually, hold on. Yes, the glacial lake in Tibet, that's where the collapse had happened. But yeah, there's hundreds missing, many of them being foreigners. I can't believe I can't remember the name of this place. Give me 1 second. Nepal is what I'm trying to think of. So between Nepal and China, about 5 miles off of the border is where this took place, and they're missing or know of being dead. Pretty sure these are all missing. 133 Indians, 47 Americans, 34 Australians, 33 British citizens, 24 Canadians, and 19 Malaysians. So, if you guys can send some prayers, positive energy, and such out for everyone affected by this tragedy, that would be awesome. Yeah, when I saw that video, I was just like, holy shnikes. People running, trying to get to safety, and didn't even have a chance. If any one of those people I saw survive that, I would be super surprised and even more grateful. Yeah, my dog keeps barking, and now I don't even know where I am. Except for it is story time, and we have a new book to begin by one of my favorites. I can't help it. I've loved this guy since I was a kid. Mr. Stephen King with a novel, Never Flinch. For Robin Firth, with love and thanks for all your hard work. Trig. 1. March and the weather's miserable. The straight circle meets in the basement of the Buell Street Methodist Church every weekend, or weekday, from 4 to 5 p.m. It's technically a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, but plenty of alcoholics also attend. Straight circle is usually packed. It's calendar spring, has been for almost a week, but in Buckeye City, sometimes known as Second Mistake on the Lake, Cleveland being the first actual, spring comes late. When the meeting lets out, a fine drizzle is hanging in the air. By nightfall, it will thicken and turn to sleet. 2 or 3 dozen attendees gather near the butt can by the entrance and light up, because freebasing nicotine is one of 2 addictions left to them, and after an hour in the basement, they need that hit. Others, the majority, turn right and head for the Fling, a coffee shop a block down. Coffee is the other addiction they can still indulge. One man is stopped by Reverend Mike, who also attends this meeting and many others on a regular basis. The Reverend is a recovering opiate addict. In meetings, he attends 2 or 3 every day, weekends included. He introduced himself by saying, "I love God, but otherwise I'm just another fiend." This always gets nods and murmurs of approval, although some old-timers find him a bit tiresome. They call him Big Book Mike for his habit of quoting verbatim long passages from the AA handbook. Now the Rev gives the man a soul shake. "Not used to seeing you around these parts, Trig. You must live upstate." Trig doesn't, but doesn't say so. He has his reasons for going to meetings out of the city where recognition is unlikely, but today was an emergency. Hit a meeting or drink, and after taking the first drink, all choices would be gone. He knows this from personal experience. Mike puts a hand on the other man's shoulder. "In your share, Trig, you sounded upset." Trig is the childhood nickname. It's how he introduces himself at the start of meetings. Even at out-of-town AA and NA, he rarely speaks other than that initial identification. In tag team meetings, he mostly says, "I just want to listen today." But this afternoon, he raised his hand. "I'm Trig, and I'm an alcoholic." "Hi, Trig," the group responded. They were in the basement instead of the church, but there's still that revival meeting call and response. Straight Circle is, in fact, the church of the crashed and burned. I just want to say that I'm pretty shaken up today. I don't want to say anymore, but I had to share that much. That's all I've got. There were murmurs of thanks, Trig, and hang in there and keep coming back. Now Trig tells Rev he's upset because he found out he lost someone he knew. The Rev asks for more details, prize for them, actually, but all Trig will say is that the person he's mourning died in lockup. "I'll pray for him," the Rev says. "Thanks, Mike." Trig starts away, but not toward the flame. He walks 3 blocks and climbs the steps to the public library. He needs to sit and think about the man who died on Saturday. He was murdered on Saturday, was shanked on Saturday, in a prison shower. He finds a vacant chair in the periodicals room and picks up a copy of the local paper, just to have something to hold. He opens it to a page 4 story about a lost dog recovered by Jerome Robinson of the Finders Keepers Agency. There's a picture of a smiling and handsome young black man with his arm around some kind of big dog, maybe a Labrador Retriever. The headline is one word: found. Trig stares through it, thinking. His real name was in this same paper 3 years ago, but no one has made the connection between that man and the one who attends out-of-town recovery meetings. Why would they, even if there had also been a picture of him, which there wasn't? That man had a slightly graying beard and wore contacts. This version is clean-shaven, wears glasses, and looks younger. Quitting the booze will do that. He likes the idea of being someone new. It also weighs on him. That is, the paradox he lives with. That, and thinking about his father, which he does more and more frequently these days. Let it go, he thinks. Forget it. That is on March 24th. Forgetting lasts just 13 days. 2. On April 6th, Trig sits in the same periodicals room chair, staring at the feature story in today's Sunday paper. The headline doesn't just speak, it shouts, "Buckeye Brandon, murdered prison inmate, may have been innocent." Trig has read the feature and listened to Buckeye Brandon's podcast 3 times. It was the self-proclaimed outlaw of the airwaves who broke the story, and according to Buckeye, there was no may have been about it. Is the story true? Trig thinks that, given the source, it must be. What you're thinking of doing is crazy, he tells himself, which is true. If you do it, you can never go back, he tells himself. That's also true. Once you start, you must keep on, he tells himself. And that's truest of all. His father's mantra. You have to push through to the bitter end. No flinching, no turning away. And what would it be like? What would it be like for him to do such things? He needs to consider some more, not just to get clarity on what he's thinking of doing, but to put a space of time between what he found out courtesy of Buckeye Brandon, also this feature article, and the acts, the horrors he may commit, so no one will make the connection. He finds himself remembering the headline about the young man who recovered the stolen dog. It was simplicity itself. Found. All Trig can think about is what he's lost, what he did, and the amends he must make. Chapter 1. 1. It's April now. In the second mistake on the lake, the last of the snow is finally melting. Izzy James gives a one-knuckle courtesy knock on her lieutenant's door and goes in without waiting. Louis Warwick is tilted back in his chair, one foot resting on the corner of his desk, hands loosely clasped on his midsection. He looks like he's meditating or dreaming awake. For all Izzy knows, he is. At the sight of her, he straightens and puts his foot up on the floor where it belongs. Isabel James, ace detective. Welcome to my lair. At your service. She doesn't envy his office because she's aware of all the bureaucratic bullshit that comes with it, accompanied by a salary bond, so small it might be called ceremonial. She's happy enough with her humble cubicle downstairs, where she works with the 7 other detectives, including her current partner, Tom Atta. And a boy. It's Warwick's chair that Izzy lusts after, with its high spine, soothing back, and reclining feature. It's meditation ready. What can I do for you, Louis? He takes a business envelope from his desk and hands it to her. You can give me an opinion on this. No strings attached. Feel free to touch the envelope. Everybody from the postman to Evelyn downstairs, and who knows who else has had their paws on it, but the note should maybe be fingerprinted, partly depending on what you say. The envelope is addressed in capital block letters to Detective Lois Warwick at 19 Court Plaza. Below, the city, state, and zip in even larger capitals. Confidential. What I say? You're the boss. Boss? I'm not passing the buck. It's my baby, but I respect your judgment. The end of the envelope has been torn open. There's no return address. She carefully unfolds the single sheet of paper inside, holding it by the edges. The message has been printed, almost certainly, on a computer. To Lieutenant Lois Warwick, from Bill Wilson, CC Chief Alice Patmore. I think there should be a corollary to the Blackstone rule. I believe the innocent should be punished for the needless death of an innocent. Should those who cause that death be put to death themselves? I think not, because then they would be gone, and the suffering for what they did would be at an end. This is true even if they acted with the best will in the world. They need to think about what they did. They need to rue the day. Does that make sense to you? It does to me, and that is enough. I will kill 13 innocents and 1 guilty. Those who cause the innocent to die will therefore suffer. This is an act of atonement. Bill Wilson. Whoa, Izzy says, still being careful. She refolds the note and slips it back into the envelope. Someone has donned their crazy pants. Yes, indeed. I googled the Blackstone rule. It says, I know what it says. Warwick puts his foot up on the desk again, hands this time laced together at the nape of his neck. Elucidate. Better for 10 guilty men to go free rather than for 1 innocent man to suffer. Lewis nods. Now for double jeopardy, where the scores can really change. What innocent man might our crazy pants correspondent be talking about? At a guess, I'd say Alan Duffy. Shanked last month at Big Stone, died in the infirmary. Then that podcaster, Buckeye Brandon, blowing off his bazoo, and the follow-up piece in the paper, both about the guy who came forward to say he framed Duffy. Carrie Tolliver got hit with a cancer stick, late-stage pancreatic, and wanted to clear his conscience. Said he never intended Duffy to die. So this note isn't from Tolliver? Not likely. He's in the Kinner Memorial, currently circling the drain. Tolliver making a clean breast was sort of like locking the barn door if the horse was stolen, wouldn't you say? Maybe yes, maybe no. Tolliver claims he fessed up in February, days after he got his terminal diagnosis. Nothing happened. Then, after Duffy was killed, Tolliver went to Buckeye Brandon, aka the outlaw of the airwaves. 88 Allen says it's all attention-seeking bullshit. What do you think? I think Tolliver makes a degree of sense. He claims he only wanted Duffy to do a couple of years. Said Duffy going on the registry would be the real punishment. Izzy understands. Duffy would have been forbidden to reside in or near child safety zones, schools, playgrounds, public parks. Forbidden to communicate with minors by text other than his own children. Forbidden to have pornographic magazines or access porn online. Have to inform his supervising officer of an address change. Being on the National Sex Offender Registry was a life sentence. If he had lived, that was. Lewis leans forward. Blackstone rule aside, which really doesn't make much sense, at least to me. Do we have to worry about this Wilson guy? Is it a threat or empty bullshit? What do you say? Can I think it over? Of course, later. What does your gut tell you right now? It stays in this office. Izzy considers. She could ask Lou if Chief Patmore has weighed in, but that's not how Izzy rolls. He's crazy, but he's not quoting the Bible or the protocols of the Elders of Zion, not suffering tin hat syndrome. Could be a crank. If it isn't, it's someone to worry about. Probably someone close to Duffy. I'd say his wife or kids, but he didn't have either. A loner, Lewis says. Alan made a big deal of that at the trial. Izzy and Tom both know Doug Allen, one of the Buckeye County ADAs. Izzy's partner calls Alan a hungry, hungry hippo after a board game Tom's children like, ambitious in other words, which also suggests Tolliver may have been telling the truth. Ambitious ADAs don't like to see convictions overturned. Duffrey wasn't married, but what about a partner? Nope. And if he was gay, he was in the closet. Deep in the closet. No rumors. Chief loan officer at First Lake City Bank. And we're assuming it's Duffrey this guy's talking about. But without a specific name. It could be someone else. Could be, but unlikely. I want you and Ada to talk to Kerry Tolliver, assuming he's still in the land of the living. Talk to all Duffrey's known associates at the bank and elsewhere. Talk to the guy who defended Duffrey. Get his list of known associates. If he did his job, he'll know everyone Duffrey knew. Izzy smiles. I suspect you wanted a second opinion that echoes what you already decided? Give yourself some credit. I wanted the second opinion of Isabel James, ace detective. If it's an ace detective you want, you should call Holly Gibney. I can give you her number. Lewis lowers his foot to the floor. We haven't sunk to the level of outsourcing our investigations yet. Tell me what you think. Izzy taps the envelope. I think this guy could be the real deal. The innocent should be punished for the needless death of an innocent. It might make sense to a nut, but to a sane person, I don't think so. Lewis sighs. The really dangerous ones, the ones who are crazy, not crazy at the same time, they give me nightmares. Timothy McVeigh killed over 150 people in the Murat building and was perfectly rational. Called the little kids who died in the daycare collateral damage. Who's more innocent than a bunch of kids? So you think this is real? Maybe real. I want you and Ada to spend some time on it. See if you can find someone so outraged by Duffrey's death or so heartbroken. Sure, that too. Find someone mad enough, I mean it both ways, to make a threat like this. Why 13 innocent and 1 guilty, I wonder? Is that a total of 14, or is the guilty one the 13? Lewis shakes his head. No idea. They could have picked the number out of a hat. Something else about this letter. You know who Bill Wilson is, right? Rings a faint bell, but why wouldn't it? Maybe not as common as Joe Smith or Dick Jones, but not exactly Zbigniew Sprinsky either. The Bill Wilson I'm thinking of was the founder of AA. Maybe this guy goes to AA and he's tipping us to that. Like he wants to be caught? Izzy shrugs, sending him to no opinion vibe. I'll send the letter to forensics. Much good it'll do. They're going to say no fingerprints, computer font, common form of printer paper. Send me a photo of it. I can do that. Izzy gets up to go. Lewis asks, have you signed up for the game yet? What game? Don't play dumb. Guns and Hoses, next month. I'm going to captain the PD team. Gee, I haven't got around to that, boss. Nor does she need to. The FD has won 3 in a row. Going to be a real grudge match this year, after what happened last time. Crutchfield's broken leg? Who's Crutchfield? Emerald Crutchfield. Motor patrolman. Mostly works on the east side. Oh, Izzy says, thinking. Boys and their games. Didn't you used to play at that college you went to? Izzy laughs. Yeah, back when dinosaurs walked the earth. You should sign up. Think about it. I will, Izzy says, she won't. 2. Holly Gibney raises her face into the sun. T.S. Eliot said, "April is the coolest month. This doesn't seem very cruel to me." "Poetry?" Izzy says dismissively. "What are you having?" "Fish tacos, I think." "You always have fish tacos." "Not always, but mostly. I'm a creature of habit." "No shit, Sherlock." Soon one of them will get up and join the line at Frankie's fabulous fish wagon, but for the time being, they just sit quietly at their picnic table, enjoying the warmth of the sun. Izzy and Holly have not always been particularly close, but that changed after they had dealings with a pair of elderly academics, Rodney and Emily Harris. The Harrises were insane and extremely dangerous. It could be argued that Holly got the worst of it, having to deal with them face to face, but it was Detective Isabel James who had to inform many of the loved ones of those who had been victims of the Harrises. She also had to tell those loved ones what the Harrises had done, and that was no night at the opera either. Both women bore scars, and when Izzy called Holly after the newspaper coverage, national as well as local, died down, asking if she wanted to do lunch, Holly agreed. Doing lunch became a semi-regular thing, and the two women formed a cautious bond. At first they talked about the Harrises, but less so as time went by. Izzy talked about her job, Holly talked about hers. Because Izzy was police and Holly a private investigator, they had similar, if rarely overlapping, areas of interest. Nor had Holly entirely given up the idea of luring Izzy over to the dark side, especially since her partner, Pete Huntley, had retired and left Holly to run Finders Keeper single-handed, with occasional help from Jerome and Barbara Robinson. She was at pains to tell Izzy that Finders didn't do divorce work, keyhole peeping, social media tracking, text messages, and telephoto lenses. Ugh. When Holly brought up the possibility, Izzy always said she'd keep it in mind, which meant, Holly thought, that Izzy would put it in her 30 on the city police force and then retire to the Gulfside condo in Arizona or Florida. Probably on her own. A 2-time loser in the marriage sweepstakes, Izzy said she wasn't looking for another hookup, especially of the marital variety. How, she said to Holly during one of their lunches, could she come home and tell her husband about the human remains they had found in the Harris's refrigerator? "Please," Holly had said on that occasion, "not while I'm trying to eat." Today they're doing lunch in Dingley Park, like Deerfield Park on the other side of the city. Dingley can be a rather sketchy environment after dark. A fucking drug mart is how Izzy puts it. But in the daytime it's perfectly pleasant, especially on a day like this, now that warm weather is on the come. They can eat at one of the picnic tables not far from the picnics that circle the old ice rink. Holly is vaccinated up the yin-yang, but COVID is still killing someone in America every 4 minutes, and Holly doesn't want to take chances. Pete Huntley is even now suffering the after-effects of his bout with the bug, and Holly's mother died of it, so she continues to take care masking up in close indoor situations and carrying a bottle of Purell in her purse. COVID aside, she likes dining al fresco when the weather's nice, as it is today, and she's looking forward to her fish tacos, 2 with extra tartar sauce. "How's Jerome?" Izzy asks. "I saw that book about his hoodlum great-grandfather landed on the bestseller list." "Only for a couple weeks," Holly says. but they'll be able to put the New York Times bestseller on the paperback, which will help the sales. She loves Jerome almost as much as she loves his sister Barbara. Now that his book tour is over, he's been asking to help me around the shop. He says it's research, that his next book is going to be about a private eye. She grimaces to show how much she dislikes the term. And Barbara? Going to Bell, right here in town, majoring in English, of course. Holly says this with what she believes is justifiable pride. Both Robinson Sibbs are published authors. Barbara's book of poems, for which she won the Penley Prize, No Small Hill of Beans, has been out for a couple of years. So your kids are doing well? Holly doesn't protest this, although Mr. and Mrs. Robinson are alive and perfectly fine. Barb and Jerome sort of are her kids. The three of them have been through the wars together. Brady Hartsfield, Morris Bellamy, Chet Ondowski, the Harrises. Those were wars, all right. Holly asks what's new in Blue World. Izzy looks at her thoughtfully and asks, "Can I show you something on my phone?" "Is it porno?" Izzy is one of the few people Holly feels comfortable joking with. "I guess in a way it is." "Now I'm curious." Izzy takes out her phone. "Lewis Warwick got this letter. So did Chief Patmore. Check it out." She passes the phone to Holly, who reads the note. "Bill Wilson, huh? You know who that is?" "The founder of AA. Luke called me into his office and asked for my opinion. I told him I'd err on the side of caution. What do you think, Holly?" "Blackstone rule, which says, better can guilty go free rather than one innocent suffer. Blackstone was a lawyer. I know because I took pre-law at Bucknell. Do you think this guy might be in the legal profession?" "Probably not. A good deduction," Holly says, rather calmly. "I never took a law course in my life, and I knew. I'd put it in the category of semi-common knowledge." "You're a sponge for info," Izzy says. "A point taken. Lou Warwick at first thought it came from the Bible." Holly reads the letter again. She says, "I think the man who wrote this letter could be religious. AA puts a lot of emphasis on God. Let go and let God is one of their sayings, and the alias plus this thing about atonement, that's a very Catholic concept. That narrows it down too. I'm going to say 500,000, Izzy says. Big help, Gibney. Could this person be angry about just a wild guess Alan Diffrey?" Izzy pats her palms together in quiet applause. Although he doesn't specifically mention. I know. Our Mr. Wilson doesn't mention a name, but it seems the most likely. Kitty Fiddler killed in prison, then it comes out he maybe wasn't a kitty fiddler after all. Timing fits more or less. I'm going to buy your tacos for that. It's your turn anyway, Holly says. Refresh me on the Duffer case. Can you do that? Sure, just promise. You won't steal it from me and figure out who Bill Wilson is on your side. Don't do it on your own. Promise. Holly means it, but she's engaged. This is the sort of thing she was born to do, and it's led her down some strange byways. The only problem with her day-to-day workload is that it involves more filling out forms and talking to bail bondsmen than solving mysteries. Long story short, Alan Duffrey was the chief loan officer at the First Lake City Bank, but until 2022, he was just another loan department guy in the cubicle. It's a very big bank. Yes, Polly says. I know, it's my bank. It's also the police department's bank and any number of local corporations, but never mind that. The chief loan officer retired and 2 men were in competition for the job, which meant a hefty salary bump. Alan Duffrey was one, Corey Tolliver was the other. Duffrey got the job, so Tolliver got him sent to prison for kiddie porn. That seems like an overreaction, Holly says, then looks surprised when Izzy bursts out laughing. What? What did I say? Just, that's you, Holly. I won't say it's what I love about you, but I may come to love it, given time. Holly's still frowning. Izzy leans forward, still smiling. You are a deductive whiz-kid, Halls, but sometimes I think you lose your grip on what criminal motivation really is, especially criminals with their screws loosened by anger, resentment, paranoia, insecurity, jealousy, whatever. There was a monetary motive for what Carrie Tolliver says he did, of course there was, but I'm sure other things played a part. Came forward after Duffrey got killed, didn't he? Holly says. Went to that podcaster who's always digging dirt. He claims he came forward before Duffrey was killed in February after getting a terminal cancer diagnosis. Wrote the ADA a confession letter and claims the ADA sat on it. So he eventually spilled everything to Buckeye Branding. That could be your atonement motive. He didn't write this, Izzy says, tapping the screen of her phone. Carrie Tolliver's dying, and it won't be long. Tom and I are going to interview him this afternoon, so I better get out and get our lunch. Extra tartar sauce for me, Molly says as Izzy gets up. Holly, you never change. Holly looks up at her, small woman with graying hair and a faint smile. It's my superpower. Three. Holly is in her office that afternoon, filling out insurance forms. She sees the futility of hating big insurance companies, but they are definitely on her poopy list. And she loathes the ads they show on TV. It's hard to hate Flo, the progressive insurance lady. Not in the least because Jerome Robinson once said, She looks like you, Holly. But it's easy to hate Doug, his silly lean-emu and Allstate's mayhem guy. She detested the Affleck duck, who has been mercifully retired, along with the Geico caveman, although it's not impossible that both duck and caveman will make a comeback. As an investigator who has worked with adjusters from many companies, she knows the big secret. Fun stops once a claim, especially a big one, is lodged with the company. This afternoon's forms are from Global Insurance, whose TV pitchman is Buster, the talking donkey. Hold on, guys, I just got a phone call in, so I lost my place. There it is, talking donkey. With his irritating hee-haw laugh, Buster is on every form, grinning at her with his big and somehow insolent teeth. Holly hates the forms, but is delighted to know that in this case, Global's talking donkey will soon be on the hook to reimburse for a cache of jewelry taken in a home invasion. $60,000 or $70,000 worth, minus the deductible. Anything she can locate, the missing gems, that is. So who's the donkeys behind today? Holly says to her empty office and just has a laugh. Her phone rings, not the one for business calls, but her personal. She sees Barbara Robinson's face on her screen. Hello, Barbara. How are you? Great, I'm great. She sounds it, absolutely bubbling over. I've got the most wonderful news. Your book hit the bestseller list. That would be fine news indeed. Her brother's book peaked to number 11 on the Times list. Didn't quite make it into the top 10, but still not bad. Barbara laughs. With exception of Amanda Gorman poetry books don't chart, I'll have to be content with 4 stars in Goodreads. She pauses. Almost 4. Holly thinks her friend's book should have 5 stars on Goodreads. She certainly gave it 5 twice. So what's your news, Barb? I was calling at Kingdom K-pop this morning and scored 2 tickets to see Sister Bessie. Hasn't even been announced yet. Not sure I know who that is, Holly says, although she almost knows. Probably would know if her head wasn't stuffed full of insurance quotes and questions, all subtly slanted to favor the company. Remember, I'm getting on in years. My knowledge and enjoyment of popular music pretty much ended with Hall & Oates. I always liked that blonde one. Also, she has 0 interest in rap or hip-hop. She thinks she might like it if her ears were younger and sharper. She misses many of the rhymes, and if she were more attuned to street life serenades of the artists Barbara and Jerome listen to, people with exotic names like Postot, Lil Durk, and Holly's favorite, although she has no idea what he's rapping about, Young Boy Never Broke Again. You should know. She's from your day, Holly. Ow, Holly thinks. Soul singer? Yes, that and gospel. Okay, I do know, Holly says. Didn't she cover a song by Al Green, Let's Stay Together? Yes, it was huge. I karaoke that one, sang it live at the Spring Hop when I was a senior. I grew up listening to Q102, Holly says. Lots of Ohio rockers like Devo and Chrissy Hine and Michael Stanley, but they were white. There wasn't much black music on the Q, but that version, I remember that one. Sister Bessie kicking off her comeback tour here at the Mingo Auditorium. 2 shows, both sold out, but I have 2 tickets and backstage passes. Come with me, Holly. Please say you will. Whittling now. She does some gospel too, and I know you like that. Holly certainly does. She's a big fan of the Blind Boys of Alabama and the Staple Singers, especially Mavis Staples, and although she barely remembers Sister Bessie or most of the music from the 20th century's last decade, she loves that good old solid gold soul from the 60s. People like Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson Pickett too. She tried to go to one of the Wicked Pickett's shows once, but her mother forbade it. And now that Mavis Staples has crossed her mind, she called herself Little Sister Bessie in the 80s. I used to listen to WGRI back then, tiny AM station. Went off the air on sundown. They played gospel music. We only listened to GRI when her mother wasn't home, though, because many of those groups, like BB and CC, Winans, and were black. I remember Little Sister Bessie doing Sit Down Servant. That was probably her before she got, totally famous. I only record she made since retiring was all gospel. Lord, Take My Hand. My mother plays that one a lot, but I like the other stuff. Say you'll come with me, Holly, please. It's the very first show, and we'll have an awesome time. Mingo Auditorium has bad associates for Holly. One's having to do with a monster named Brady Hartsfield. Barbara was there, but she wasn't the one who clobbered Brady. That was Holly herself. Bad associations or not, she can't refuse Barbara anything, or Jerome for that matter. If Barb says she had 2 tickets to see Young Boy NBA, she would have said yes, probably. When is it? Next month, May 31st. Plenty of time to clear your calendar. Will it be late? Holly hates late evenings. No, not at all. Barbara's still bubbling, full of happiness, which cheers Holly's day up considerably. Starts at 7, it'll be over by 9:30 at the very latest. Sister probably doesn't want to stay up late. She's old. Gotta be pushing 65 by now. Holly, who no longer thinks of 65 as particularly old, offers no comment. Will you come? Will you learn sit-down servant and sing it to me? Yes, absolutely. And she's got a great soul band. Barbara's voice drops to what's almost a whisper. Some of them are from Muscle Shoals. Holly doesn't know Muscle Shoals from Muscle Train, but that's okay. And she still wants to make Barbara work for it a little. Will you sing Let's Stay Together? Yes, if it gets you to come, I'll karaoke the hell out of it. Then okay, it's a date. Hooray! I'll pick you up. I've got a new car, bought it with my Penley prize money, a priest like yours. They talk a little longer. Barbara tells her she hardly sees Jerome since he came back from his tour. He's either doing research for his new book or hanging around the Finders Keeper's office. I haven't seen him in the last few days either, Holly says, and when I did, he was kind of mopey. For a noon call, Barbara says, with undisguised satisfaction. He'll be mopier than ever when he finds out we're going to see Sister Bessie. Thanks, Holly. Really? We're going to have an awesome time. I hope so, Holly says. She adds, don't forget, you promised to sing for me. You've got a very good... But Barbara's gone. Floor. Izzy and Tom Atta take the elevator to the 4th floor of Kinner Memorial. When they get out, arrows on the wall offer them either cardiology right or oncology left. They turn left at the nurse's station, they flash their badges and ask for Carrie Tolliver's room. Izzy is interested to see the momentary flash of distaste on the duty nurse's face, a pulling down at the corners of the mouth, there and then gone. He's in 419, but you'll probably find him in solarium, soaking up the sun and reading one of his mystery novels. Tom doesn't mince words. I've heard pancreatic is one of the bad ones. How long has he got, would you say? The nurse, an old vet who still wears head-to-toe white rayon, leans forward and speaks in a low tone. His doc says a matter of weeks. I'd guess 2, maybe less. We would have been shipped home except for the insurance coverage, which must have been a hell of a lot better than mine. He'll slip into a coma, and then good morning, good afternoon, good night. Is he mindful of Holly Gibney's pet peeve about insurance companies? I'm surprised the company didn't find a way to wiggle out of it. I mean, he did from the man who got murdered in prison. Did you know about that? Of course I know, the nurse says. He brags about how sorry he is. Seen a minister. I see crocodile tears. Tom says, the DA declined to prosecute, says Tolliver's full of shit, so he gets a pass and his insurance company gets the bill. The nurse rolls her eyes. He's full of something. All right, try the solarium first. As they walk down the corridor, Izzy thinks that if there's an afterlife, Owen Duffrey may be waiting there for his one-time colleague, Carrie Tolliver. And he'll want to have a few words. Tom looks at her. What? Nothing. 5. Holly pulls the last of the global insurance forms in front of her, sighs, grabs her pen. These forms have to be filled out by hand if she wants a chance at finding the missing trinkets. God knows why. And then puts it down. She picks up her phone and looks at the letter from Bill Wilson, whoever he might really be. It's not her case, and she'd never poach it from Isabel. But Holly can feel her lights turning on nevertheless. Her job is often boring. There's too much paperwork, and right now, cases, good ones, engaging ones, are thin on the ground, so she's interested. There's something else, too. even more important, when her interior lights come on, she loves that, adores it. "This is not my business, shoemaker, stick to thy last," one of her father's sayings. Her late mother, Charlotte, had 1,000 pithy aphorisms. Her father, only a few, but she remembers every one of them. What is shoemaker's last, anyway? She has no idea and crushes the urge to Google it. She does know that her last is filling out this form, then checking pawn shops and fences for a bunch of jewelry stolen from a rich widow in Sugar Heights. If she can find the stuff, she'll get a bonus from Buster, the talking donkey, which he'll probably poop out of his butt, she thinks, very reluctantly. She sighs, picks up her pen again, puts it down, and writes an email instead. Is. You'll know this already, it's pretty obvious, but the guy you're looking for is smart. He talks about the Blackstone rule, which isn't in an uneducated man's vocabulary. I believe the innocent should be punished for the needless death of an innocent might be a cuckoo sentiment, but you have to admit it's a nicely turned phrase, balanced. All his punctuation is perfect. Note the use of the colons in the heading and how he uses CC in reference to Chief Patton in the old days. When I was doing office correspondence, that stood for carbon copy. Now it just means also sent to and is commonly used in business. Suggests to me your Bill Wilson may be a white-collar guy. Now as to that name, Bill Wilson, I don't think he picked it out of a hat, assuming he is male. It's not impossible that he met the murdered man, Alan Duffrey, in AA or NA, also assuming it's Duffrey, the letter writer, is on about. You might be able to reach out to someone who goes to those meetings. If not, I have a source who's in NA and quite open about it. He's a bartender of all things. 6 years clean and sober. He or someone you can tap might be able to spot someone clean-cut and well-spoken, someone who might even have said something in a meeting about Duffrey or that guy who got stabbed in prison. The anonymity aspect of AA and NA makes this a long shot, but it might be possible to locate the guy this way. Slim chance, I know, but it's a line of investigation. Holly. She puts her cursor on the send button, then adds a few more lines. P.S. Did you notice he misspelled Lewis Warwick's first name? If you catch someone you think might be your man, don't ask him to write his name. I repeat, this guy isn't stupid. Ask him to write something like, I have never liked Lewis Black. See if he spells it Lois. You probably know all this, but I'm sitting here with nothing to do. H. She reads this over, then adds P.P.S. Lewis Black is a comedian. She considers this and decides Izzy might think that Holly thinks Izzy is stupid or a cultural illiterate. She deletes it, then thinks she really might not know who Lewis Black is, and puts the line back in. These sorts of things torture her. Bill Hodges, who founded Finders Keepers, once told Holly that she over-empathized with people, and when Holly replied, You say that like it's a bad thing, Bill said, In this business it can be. She sends the email and tells herself to get off of her Budinsky. That's one. That one's all Charlotte Gibney. And start looking for the missing jewelry, but she sits where she is a little longer because something Izzy said is troubling her. No, not Izzy. Barbara. Holly's computer savvy. It's how she and Jerome bonded, but she's old school about appointments and keeps a date book in her purse. She hunts it out now and pages through it until she gets to the end of May. There she has written Kate McKay, M.A. 8 p.m. Maybe. M.A. standing for Mingo Auditorium. Holly goes to the movies fairly often since COVID abated, always wearing her mask if the theater is even half full, but she rarely goes to lectures and concerts. She thought she might go to the McKay lecture, though. If that is, she didn't have to wait in line too long, and assuming she could get in at all. Holly doesn't agree with everything McKay espouses, but when she talks about the sexual abuse of women, Holly Gibney is right there with her. She herself was sexually abused as a young woman and knows few women, including Izzy James, who were not, in one way or another. Also, Kate McKay has what Holly thinks of as strut. Never having been much of a strutter herself, Holly approves of that. She supposes she had some strut when it came to Harris's, but that was mostly a matter of survival. Also luck. She decides she'll sort out the double booking mystery later, because she still has a tendency to blame herself for things she supposes she might have written down the wrong date. Either way, it seems to be her fate to be in the Mingo Auditorium on the night of Saturday, May 31st, and as much as she admires Kate McKinney's strut, on the whole, she'd rather be with Barbara. "Oh, jewelry," she says, getting up. "Must find jewelry. The global insurance firms can wait until later." 6. Izzy has an idea how the first Lake City Bank chief loan officer should look. Maybe from a brochure she got in the mail or a TV show. Slightly pudgy but well-groomed. Nice suit, cologne, not too much. Pleasant smile, all ready to say, "How much do you need?" Carrie Tolliver is not that man. She and Tom find him snoozing at the fourth-floor lounge with a copy of a detective novel called Toxic Prey open on his chest. Instead of a natty three-piece suit, he's wearing a tired hospital robe over wrinkled pajamas with Hello Kitty faces on them. His hollow cheeks sport a salt and pepper beard scruff. His hair is half long and half bald. Plates of yellowish eczema shingle the bald spots. The skin of his face, not covered with the patchy beard, is so white it's almost green. His body is skeletal except for the bulge of his belly, which is huge. Like a mushroom ready to sporulate, Izzy thinks. There's a wheelchair on one side of him, an IV pole on the other. As they draw closer, Izzy realizes that Tolliver doesn't smell very good. Actually, it's not exactly true. Actually, he stinks. They split apart without talking about it, Tom standing by the wheelchair and Izzy next to the IV pole, which is dripping some clear liquid into the back of Tolliver's hand. "Wake up, Carrie," Tom says. "Wake up, Sleeping Beauty." Tolliver opens his eyes, which are red and rheumy. He looks for Tom, Ada, and Izzy back to Tom again. "Cops," he says. "I told that county coroner everything I know. Wrote him a letter. Fucker sat on it. I'm sorry Duffer got killed. That wasn't supposed to happen. I have nothing else to say." "Well, maybe a little more," Tom says. "Show him the letter is." She takes out her phone and tries to hand it to him. Tolliver shakes his head. "I can't take it. Too weak. Can't you let me die in peace? If you can hold that book, you can hold this," Izzy says. "Read it." Tolliver takes the book, takes the phone, and holds it close to his nose. He reads the Bill Wilson letter and then hands it back. "So, you think this guy believes I'm the guilty one? Fine. Even though I tried to take it back, fine. Let him come and kill me. He'd be doing me a favor." Izzy hasn't thought that Bill Wilson might consider Tolliver the one guilty person, although she's betting Holly already has, she says. "We want your help. Bill Wilson is almost certainly an alias. Can you tell us who might have written this? Who was close enough to Alan Duffrey to make such a threat?" Tom says, The letter might be bullshit, but if it isn't, you could be saving some lives. I'm not a kitty freak, Tolliver says, and as he realizes he's stoned to the gills. I told the other cops that, and the DA guy, that fuck. The stuff they found on my computer, I only saved it so they'd believe me. Dumped it. Then brought it back when I got sick, duplicates of most of the stuff I sent to Duff. And he says, the Duff, he raises his upper lip in a dog-like snarl. And as he sees, some of his teeth are gone. Those remaining are turning black. He really does stink. Eau de piss. Eau de merde. Eau de mort. She can't wait to get away and breathe some clean air. He had mags as well as the crap on his computer, Tom says. I've talked to Alan and read the file on the way over here. One of them was called Uncle Bill's Pride and Joy. How's that for disgusting? If you did it, Izzy begins. I did, and that fuck 88 Allen knows I did. Sent him a letter in February after I got my diagnosis. Explained everything. Told him stuff that wasn't in the papers. He sat on it. Duffy should be out. Allen's the guilty one. If you did it, Izzy repeats. We don't care how you did it. Care about who might have written this letter. Tolliver doesn't look at her. Keeps his eyes on Tom. Izzy isn't surprised. When she works with a male partner, male subjects usually discount her. Women do too. I bought the magazines on the dark web, Tolliver says. Snuck into his house. The basement bulkhead was unlocked and stashed them behind his furnace. Tell us who was close to Duffy, Izzy says. Who might have been pissed enough to... Tolliver goes on ignoring her. It's Tom Addie he's talking to and gathering steam. You want to know how I got stuff into his computer? I explained it all to Alan, but that fuck paid no attention. So once I made my peace with dying, sort of, I guess as much as anyone does, I told it to Buckeye Brandon. That guy listened. I sent Duffy a notice that purported that from the USPS, misdirected package. Anybody knows that fishing. Grandmas know it's fishing. But this dumbbell's supposedly smart enough to be chief loan officer. But about as smart as the busted light switch, this dumbbell went ahead and clicked on the link. Then I had him. I sent him a zip file tucked in halfway through this tax file, but I never meant for him to die. That's why I came forward. Not because you found out you were dying. Even though this wasn't why they're here, Liz can't help herself. Well, sure. That had something to do with it. He looks at her briefly, then switches his attention back to Tom. Some of the blame has to go on the guy who stabbed him, right? All I wanted was for him to be on the register when he got out. That promotion should have been mine. It should have been mine, and he stole it. Incredibly, Tolliver begins to cry. Kate A's, as he says. She thinks of tapping Tolliver on one thin shoulder to redirect his attention, but can't quite bring herself to do it. The stink of him has got her stomach sudsing. Known associates, help us out, and we'll leave you alone. Talk to Pete Young in the loan department, Claire Rademacher, the chief cashier. He was buddy-buddy with both of them. Or Kendall Dingley, he's the branch manager. That dog-like lift of the upper lip. Kendall's dumb as dirt. Only got the manager job because his grandfather founded the bank and his uncle runs the fire department. There's a park named after old Hiram Dingley, you know? I should have kindler some kitty stuff too. Everyone have thought Duff and Dingbat were in it together, but I didn't because I'm a good guy. I know you don't believe that, but at heart I'm a good guy. The Duff used to suck up to the Dingbat like crazy. That's why he got the promotion. Izzy is writing down the names. Anyone else? Maybe he had friends in his neighborhood, but I wouldn't know that. He grimaces and lifts his pregnant midsection. He lets out a trumpet blast of flatulence. And when the smell reaches Izzy, she thinks it's strong enough to blister paint. Christ, that hurts. I need to go back to my room. The morphine pump will have reset by now. Roll my chair, will you? Tom leans forward into the stink and speaks low. I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, Carrie. If you're telling the truth, you got an innocent man sent to prison and he got stabbed and it took him a day to die. You think you're in pain? He was in pain and didn't deserve it. I'd punch you in that grotesque gut of yours, but you'd fart some more. My wife left me, Oliver says. He's still crying. She took the kids and left me. I did it for her as well as me. She was always bitching about we can't afford this and we can't afford that and who'll marry me? Huh? Who'll marry me? My brother? My sister? They won't answer my emails. My mother said, I don't care what she said. She said, you made your bed, now lie in it. How shitty is that? He lifts his hips and produces another trumpet blast. Izzy says, let's get out of here. We've got all he can give us. I made a clean breast, Oliver is saying as they leave. Twice? First to that ADA fuck, then to Buckeye Brandon? I didn't have to do that. And now look at me, just look. Izzy and Tom go back to the nurse's station. The old vet in the white rayon uniform is filling out forms. Izzy says he wants to go back to his room. He says by now his morphine pump will have reset. Without looking up, the old vet says he can wait. 7. May and the weather is beautiful. Not far from the city is the woodsy suburban township called Upriver. At its northern edge is a little pocket park where a few people are doing meditation poses that might or might not be called asanas. Trig doesn't care what they're called. They are looking toward the horizon, not at him. That's fine. He got a burger at a drive-thru but tossed it on the passenger seat after a couple of bites. He's too nervous to eat. The letter he sent to the police has a warning. This is the real deal. There is a question of whether he can do it. Of course there is. He thinks he can, but understands he won't know for sure until the deed is done. He killed squirrels and birds and a pellet gun as a boy, and that was all right. Good, in fact. The one time his father took him deer hunting, Trig wasn't allowed to carry a real gun. His father said, knowing you, you'd fall in a hole and blow your foot off. Daddy said if they saw a deer, he would let Trig shoot, but they never saw one. And he was pretty sure his father wouldn't have allowed him the gun even if they had. Daddy would have hogged the shot to himself. And to break his cherry by killing a man? Trig understands that once he's stepped over that line, he can never go back. The street running past the pocket park has an amusing name. Anyhow Lane. It's a dead-ender. Trig has been here 3 times before and knows that the Buckeye Trail passes near the end of the street. The trail is 18 miles long. It used to be a railroad line, but the tracks were taken up 30 years ago and replaced by a wide, county-financed asphalt path that winds through trees and bushes, finally emerging beside the turnpike and ending on the outskirts of the city proper. There's a little beaten earth square at the end of Anyhow Lane with a sign reading, "No parking after 7 p.m. On each of his previous reconnaissance visits, a dusty Komatsu bucket loader has been parked there in defiance of the sign, and it's still there this afternoon. For all Trig knows, It's been there for years, and may be there for years to come. It will give him cover for his car, and that's all he cares about. Beyond it is a copse of woods marked by signs reading Buckeye Trail and Do Not Litter and Walk/Bike at your own risk. Hey, Daddy. Hey, Daddy. His father is long gone, but Trigg sometimes talks to him anyways. It's not comforting exactly, but it feels lucky. Trigg parks behind the bucket loader and takes a backpack and a trail map from the rear seat of his Toyota. He shrugs into the pack and puts the map in his back pocket. From the center console, he takes a snub-nosed Taurus .22 revolver. He slips it into his right front pocket. In his left pocket is a slim leather folder containing 13 slips of paper. He passes picnic benches, a litter basket full of beer cans, and a painted post with a laminated map of the trail. He has seen plenty of walkers and bicyclists on the trail on his previous scouts, sometimes in pairs or trios. No good for his purpose today, but sometimes alone. Today, I may not see anyone by himself, he thinks. If I don't, there will be a sign. Stop while there's still time to stop before you step over the line. Once you're over the line, you can never come back. This makes him think of an AA mantra. 1 drink is too many, and 1,000 are never enough. He's wearing a brown sweater and a plain brown gimme cap pulled down almost to the brow line. There's no logo on the cap for a passerby to remember. He walks east rather than west so the sun won't illuminate the part of his face that shows. An elderly couple on bikes passes him headed west. The man says hello. Trigg raises a hand but doesn't speak. He keeps on. About a mile ahead, the woods thin, and there the trail skirts a housing development where kids will be playing in backyards, and women will be hanging up clothes. If he gets that far without seeing someone walking alone, he'll pack it in. Maybe just for today. Maybe for good. Sure, Daddy says. Go on and flinch, you fucking flincher. Trigg ambles along, one hand on the butt of the revolver. He'd whistle, but his mouth is too dry. And now from around the next corner in the trail comes the solo walker he was hoping for, also dreading. Well, not completely solo. There's a standard poodle on a red leash. He always imagined his first would be a man, but this is a middle-aged woman wearing jeans and a hoodie. I won't do it, he thinks. I'll wait for a man, one without a dog. Come another day. Only if he needs to carry through with his mission, all the way through, he must include 4 women. He is closing the distance. Soon she and her dog will be past him. She will go on with her life, make dinner, watch TV, call a friend on the phone and say, "Oh, my day was fine. How was yours?" Now or never, he thinks, and takes the map from his back pocket with his left hand. His right is still clutching the revolver. Don't blow your foot off, he thinks. Hello, the woman says. Lovely afternoon, isn't it? It sure is. Does he sound worse, or is it just his imagination? It must be the latter because the woman doesn't look alarmed. Can you show me exactly where I am? He holds the map out. His hand is shaking a little, but the woman doesn't seem to notice. She steps closer, looking down. The standard poodle sniffs at Trigg's pant leg. He takes the revolver out of his pocket. For a moment the hammer catches on the pocket's lining, but then it comes free. The woman doesn't see it. She's looking at the map. Trigg puts an arm around her shoulders, and she looks up. He thinks, don't flinch. Before she could pull away, he places the short muzzle of the Taurus against her temple and pulls the trigger. He's test-fired the gun and knows what to expect. Not a loud report, but more of a snap, like breaking a dry stick of kindling over a knee. The woman's eyes roll up to the whites and the tip of her tongue pokes out of her mouth. That's the only horrible part. She sags in his encircling arm. Blood is trickling from the hole in her temple. He puts the muzzle of the Taurus over the powder-blackened hole and shoots her again. The first bullet didn't come out. It stayed in her darkened brain, but this one does. He sees her hair flip, as if lifted by a playful finger. He looks around. Sure, someone is watching. Must be watching, but there's no one. At least, not yet. The poodle is looking up at his mistress whining. The red leash is puddling at its front feet. The poodle looks at Trig, its eyes seeming to ask if everything is all right. Trig slaps its curly rump with his free hand and says, "Go!" The poodle jumps and runs 20 or 30 feet down the path, out of slapping distance, then stops and looks back. The leash is a red ribbon trailing behind it. Trig drags the woman through the bushes, edging the trail, and into the thin woods, looking both ways until he's under cover. Cars are passing nearby, but he can't see them. The dog, he thinks. Someone will wonder why it's out with its leash trailing, or it will come back. I should have let go. Too late now. He takes the leather folder from his pocket. His hands are trembling a lot now, and he almost drops it. There's a dead woman at his feet. Everything she was is now gone. He fumbles through the slips of paper. Andrew Groves, no. Philip Jacoby, no. Stephen First, no. Where are the women? Where are the goddamn women? At least he comes upon Letitia Overton, a black woman, and the woman he's killed his wife. But it doesn't matter. He may not be able to leave a name with all his targets, but with this one he can. He puts it between two fingers of her open hand, then turns and makes his way back to the trail. He pauses, still in the bushes, looking for hikers or bikers, but there are none. He steps out and heads west toward the parking area and his car. The poodle is still standing there at the end of its trailing leash. As he approaches, Trig waves both hands at it. The dog cringes and skitters away. When Trig comes around the next curve, he sees the dog standing with its forepaws on the asphalt and its rear paws in the bushes. It backs away at the sight of him, waits until Trig goes by, then dashes back the way it came, its leash trailing. It will find its mistress and Mike is not begin barking. "Wake up! Mistress, wake up!" Someone will come along and wonder what that fool dog is barking about. Because the trail is still deserted, Trig breaks into a jog. Then, an all-out run. He reaches the parking area without being seen, slings his back into the back seat, then sits behind the wheel, grasping for breath. "I need to get out of here," his thought. Daddy's voice. "Right now." He turns the key and the chime bings, but nothing else happens. His car is dead. God is punishing him. He doesn't believe in God, but God is punishing him nevertheless. He looks down at the console and sees he left the shifter in drive when he shut off the engine. He shifts into park and the car starts. He reverses out from behind the bucket loader and drives back down anyhow lane, resisting the urge to speed. Slow and steady, he tells himself. Slow and steady wins the race. The asanas or sun salutes or whatever they are seem to be done. Men and women are chatting and returning to their cars. None of them looks at the man in the brown cap as he drives by in his utterly forgettable Toyota Corolla. "I did it," he thinks. "I killed that woman. Her life is over." There's no guilt, it's only a dull regret that makes him think of his last year drinking, when every first sip tasted like death. That woman was in the wrong place at the wrong time, although the right place and time for him. There's a book she'll never finish, emails and texts she'll never respond to, a vacation she'll never take. The standard poodle may get fed tonight, but not by her. She was looking at his map, and then she wasn't. He did it, though. When the time came, he didn't blow his foot off, and he didn't flinch. He's sorry the woman in the jeans and hoodie had to be part of this atonement, but be sure if there is a heaven, that woman is already being introduced around. Why not? She is one of the innocent. Chapter 2 1. It's a rainy morning in Reno, and Kate wants a newspaper. Not any newspaper either, but one of the sort she calls a rag, or a screed. This particular screed is the West Coast Clarion. Corey points to Kate's laptop, but Kate shakes her head and flashes a grin. The Clarion is strictly hard copy. She lowers her voice. The internet is a tool of the deep state, although the people who write this pile of crap don't mind having the juicy bits posted on social media, where troubling things like facts and context don't matter. Then as an afterthoughts have a way of causing trouble, and wear my hat. Are you kidding? Kate's Borsalino, a kind of fedora, comically large, almost a parody of what the well-dressed Esquire man would wear, is a McKay trademark. She wears it to all her events, sweeping it off and making an extravagant bow to acknowledge the preordained storm of applause, plus booze. She was wearing it on the cover of both Ms. and Newsweek. Zero kidding. She's making notes of her upcoming speech at the Pioneer Center tonight. Although the tour is barely underway, this isn't Kate McKay's first rodeo. She's got a basic template, but she's a believer in the Tip O'Neill maxim that all politics is local, and tailors each speech to the town she's in. And the bottom line isn't, buy my book, now on sale, because the book is already a bestseller, like the 3 that came before it. The book is simply the door opener to her views and agenda. Applause follows. Outrage follows. Press and TV coverage follow. On the next city, which will be Spokane. I want to see what garbage they have to say about me. I may be able to use it tonight, but I don't want you getting soaked. God forbid you get sick when the tour's just getting started. It's really come down out there. I thought Reno was supposed to be dry. Corey settles the Borsalino almost reverently on her head, cocking it to the left as Kate does. That way it obscures most of her face, thus assuring her of a trip to St. Mary's ER not long hence. That rag will spill like a stuck pig, Kate says, not without satisfaction. She's looking out the rain-streaked sitting room window on the top floor of the Renaissance Reno Hotel. But nothing will equal the Breitbart headline when we kick off the tour. That one had been "The Bitch is Back." Kate had it framed, and by now it will be hanging in the study of her cliffside home in Carmel by the Sea. She called it great advertising. Hattie Delaney, her agent, called it a recipe to bring out the kooks, nutbags, and true Q believers. Kate spread her hands and made a beckoning gesture with all 10 fingers, another McKay trademark, and said, "Let 'em come." 2. Corey inquires as to where she can find a well-equipped newsstand and is told Hammer News on West 2nd Street should have everything she wants. She calls and asks if they carry the West Coast Clarion. She takes reply, "Does a bear do it in the woods?" as a yes, and sets out. Is the redhead in the rain hat and belted trench coat sitting nearby in the lobby when Corey asks for directions at the desk? Perhaps looking at a magazine or bent over her phone. Corey thinks later, tells the police later. She must have listened to the helpful concierge giving her instructions, then gone ahead to get in position. Did Corey see a woman precede her out of the hotel? She'll say she honestly can't remember, nor does she care. In the ER, she only cares about two things. The first is whether or not she'll ever be able to see again. The second is this: if she can, how ugly will be the face she sees looking back in the mirror. Those things will be her concerns. Three. The previous year, Corey was chosen along with 10 others to attend a graduate seminar taught by Kate McKay. It lasted 2 weeks, and those were the best classes of Corey's academic career. After the last one, Kate asked her to stay so she could discuss something with her. Kate told her that her new book was going to be published in April, and she'd support it with a multi-city tour, beginning in Portland, Oregon, and ending in Portland, Maine. I need someone to assist. I'm thinking you might like the job. $700 a week. You'd have to make arrangements to finish your other classes a little early. What do you think? Corey was at first so astounded by the out-of-the-blue offer that she was unable to reply. This woman has been on the cover of magazines. She's on TV all the time. Even more impressive to Corey, a child of social media age, Kate has 12 million followers on Twitter. That's 12 with 6 zeros behind it. Close your mouth, Kate said. You'll catch a fly. Why me? Kate ticked off reasons on her fingers. When I needed a PowerPoint, you hooked it up. Your paper on Ada Lovelace was well written and thoughtful. You didn't neglect the fact that she became interested in mathematics because she was afraid her father's insanity might be hereditary. You saw her as a woman, not a goddess. Human, in other words. You ask good questions and are currently attached. Have I missed anything? Only that I idolize you, Corey thought, but later she'll come to understand. Kate knew that all along. And she is a woman who enjoys being idolized. In many ways, Corey will also come to understand this. Kate is a monster of ego. Her tongue is a Ginsu knife. She's capable of coolly slicing and dicing a commentator who dares oppose her views, then doing a furniture-kicking tantrum over a busted bra strap. She has no off button. She's also balls-to-the-wall courageous. Corey thought then and thinks now that Kate McKay will be remembered long after most women and men of her time will be forgotten. No, yes, I want the job. Kate laughed. Relax, girl. It's not a marriage proposal and it won't be glamorous. I might send you out to Starbucks at 7 in the morning or to Walgreens for privacy. You'll have to lug equipment, plug in equipment, sometimes fix equipment, as you fixed that fucking PowerPoint gadget when I couldn't make it work. You'll also spend a lot of time on the phone. Keep a schedule, make calls, concoct the occasional excuse, organize press conferences. The one thing I'll never ask you to do is apologize for me or, God save us, clarify something I said. I don't do apologize. I don't do clarifications, and you won't either. Now, does that still sound like yes? Can you drive a standard shift? Corey's shoulders slumped. No. Kate grasped her by the shoulders. Her grip was strong. Then find someone to teach you because we're going in my truck. Homegirl doesn't fly, especially over flyover country. I'm a gal of the people. Corey went to the driving school and learned. Once she got the hang of using the clutch, it was sort of fun. She liked the instructor telling her, Relax, young lady. If you can't find 'em, grind 'em. Kate said they would split the driving. There was no need to adjust the seat when they switched because both of them were about the same height, 5'5" and change. Kate was a blonde. Corey, what her mom called a brunette. But in Portland, she went blonde, saying it was just for a change. Kate probably knew better. When you let your hair down from a distance, we could almost be sisters, Kate said as they drove out of Portland, bound for Reno, which was, of course, the problem. Four. Corey walks down the Lake Street to West 2nd. Borsalino pulled low. If the woman in the trench coat is ahead of her, Corey either doesn't see or doesn't remember. She can see her destination ahead. Hammer News, out-of-town papers, the sign reads. When on her left, a woman cries, "Hey, Kate!" Corey will later tell police that the voice was hoarse, as if the woman had been screaming her lungs out at a rock show. As Corey turns her head, she's grabbed by the collar of her jacket and yanked into an alley that stinks of garbage. She stumbles, but keeps her feet. She thinks, "I'm being The rest is jolted from her mind as she's thrown against the alley's brick wall hard enough to rattle her teeth. Now she sees the woman in the trench coat, taller than Corey by a couple of inches, and with bright red hair that can't be natural. It's smashed down under one of those cheap see-through rain hats you can buy for $1. Her bag is on a strap over her left shoulder. Her right hand dips into it and brings out a thermos with the word acid printed on the black Sharpie. She lets go of Corey to unscrew the cap, and Corey is too stunned to run. She can't believe this is happening. "Here's what you have coming," the redhead says, and throws the contents of the thermos into Corey's wide, startled eyes. "Suffer not a woman to teach or usurp the authority of man, but to be silenced. 1 Timothy, bitch." The burn is immediate. Her vision blurs away. "Go home, Kate, while you still can." She doesn't see the redhead exit the alley. She doesn't see anything. She can hardly hear her own screams. The pain has swallowed her whole. 5. The first thing she does in the ER when her vision begins to come back, blurry but there, thank God and Jesus and all the saints, is to fish her compact out of her purse and look at her face. Her cheeks and forehead are flushed, a hectic red, and the whites of her eyes are scarlet, but there are none of the blisters that she expected. This is after the doc has washed her eyes out with a saline solution. It stings like hell. He says he'll be back in 10 minutes to do it again. "Whatever she splashed you with, it wasn't acid," he says before hurrying out to deal with another patient. The second thing she does is call Kate, who will be wondering where Corey is. By then, she's calmed down a little. Kate is calm too. She tells Corey to call the police if someone on the staff hasn't already done it. Kate arrives 10 minutes after a uniformed cop and 5 minutes before a woman detective. Corey expects Kate to take charge. It's what she does. But today, she only sits in the corner of the exam room and listens. Corey isn't sure if that's because the lead cop is female. It might be. The detective gets a description and writes it down. She shares a sheet of paper off her pad and gives it to the uni, who leaves, presumably to call it in. The detective has introduced herself as Mallory Hughes. The red hair. Was it a dye job? Or could it have been a wig? It might have been either. It all happened so fast. I know that sounds like a cliche, but understood, totally understood. If it was a wig, they'll probably find it in a nearby litter basket. If someone hasn't filched it already, that is. How are the old eyeballs doing? Better. I'm sorry you have had such a fuss, but Don't be, Kate says from her seat in the corner. It's just that I thought it was acid. It said so right on the thermos. Because that's what she wanted you to think, he says. Like in Roadrunner cartoon where the box says Acme Explosives. She turns her head. Kate McKay, right? Kate nods. She's not taking a big part in the discussion. She's letting Hughes do her job. But her attention is fiercely focused. Corey has an idea her boss is very angry. It's in her tightly pursed lips and the way her hands are knotted in her lap. But she's showing respect, at least so far. If she feels that Hughes is fucking up or slacking off, that will change. I've read 2 of your books, Hughes tells her, then turned back to Corey. The woman who threw that shit in your face, probably Bleach, thought you were her, didn't she? Cocking her head, Kate, whose lips are now so tightly pressed together they have almost disappeared. Probably. The Borsalino, Kate says. It's sort of a trademark. It's on all 4 book jackets and a lot of publicity photos. Well, this one is evidence, Hugh says. You'll get it back eventually, but you'll have to buy another one if you want to wear it to your gig tonight. For Mallory Hughes, Kate takes this without content. Corey wonders again if she would from a man. Kate's not a hater of men, but she's got a lot of pushback in her. Are you going ahead with your lecture tonight at the Pioneer? Oh, yes. I'd be happy to comp you tickets if you want to come. Working? Then back to Corey. I want you to come down to the station this afternoon and make a statement. You up for that? Corey looks at Kate, who says, early afternoon, if possible. I need Corey later on, simply assuming that Corey will be ready and willing to do her show night duties. Corey supposes there's a degree of diva arrogance in this, but it doesn't irritate her. On the contrary, she's grateful for it. Understands it's Kate's way of saying she assumes Corey is as brave as she is. Corey wants to believe that. Let's make it 1:30, Hugh says. 455 is second, not all that far from where you were going when you were assaulted. I want both your phone number and email address since I expect you'll be moving on with Miss McKay. She doesn't defer to Kate because she's not the victim. At least not this time. 1:30 it is, Corey says. If we capture, you'll have to come back. You're aware of that, right? Corey says she understands. 6. When Hughes is gone, Kate says, I want you on stage tonight. Are you good with that? Corey feels a bolt of fright at the idea. Would I have to speak? Not if you don't want to. Then okay, I guess. You don't mind being Kate and Kay's objectless. Don't resent me for it. No. Is that the truth? Corey wants it to be. I want to take your picture while your eyes are still red and puffy and your skin is still irritated, alright? Yeah. People need to understand there's a price for standing up. But it can be paid. They need to understand that too. Okay. I become a selling point, Corey thinks. She sees Kate's willingness to do this, to seize this, as a character flaw, but also as a character strength. That it can be both is a new idea for her. Kate McKay's been called a zealot. She wears a label with pride. On CNN, a pundit accused her of suffering from Joan Arc syndrome. Kate's response? Joan of Arc heard the voice of God. I hear the voices of oppressed women. She asks Corey if she wants to continue the tour after tonight. Kate says she didn't want to ask the question in front of the detective. Yes, of course. Are you sure? Now that you see what can happen. Yes. Talking about hate is one thing. Seeing it in action, actually experiencing it, that's a whole other deal. Wouldn't you say? Yes. Okay, subject closed. Kate produces her phone to take Corey's picture. After looking at the screen, she says, "Mush your hair up. Widen your eyes." Corey looks at her, not understanding or not wanting to. "Let's be honest, Corey. This isn't a book tour. The book would be fine if I just sat at home on my ass and watched TV. It's an ideology tour. Otto von Bismarck compared ideology to sausage. You might want to eat it, but you don't want to see it being made." Well, no. He was actually talking about making laws, but same difference. "You're sure you want to go on with me?" For an answer, she makes Kate's trademark gesture, both hands out and all fingers beckoning. "Come on, bring it." Then she musses up her hair. Kate laughs, snaps a picture, sends it to Corey's phone, and tells her what to do with it. "Then call your parents, hon. They need to hear about this from you before they see it on the news." Seven. She's in a shop called Cloth and Chroma, doing what Kate asked with the picture, being embarrassed than ever at the result. When Mallory Hughes calls and says they found a wig anyway, she sends Corey a picture. Although the wig is on a plain white background, it brings everything back. The thermish, the splash, the burn, the sureness that her face is going to melt. "That's it." "You sure?" "Sure shot." "Great. Wigs are DNA mines unless she was wearing a bathing cap over her real hair. If we get a good result and capture a cheek swab match and game over." "Have you called your folks?" "Yeah." Her mother wanted to come home ASAP. Her father made a sterner stuff, just told her to be careful and to get some protection. He said something he's been telling her all her life. The bastards don't get to win. In the background, her mother cried, "It's not politics, Frank, it's her life." "Not politics, ideology," Corey thinks. Her father said, "Her life is exactly what I'm talking about." 8. Kate called from the venue and told her to wear a dress. "Look good, hon, and I've got something for you." When she gets to the green room at the Pioneer Center, Kate looks her over, approves of the belting blue knee-length dress Corey's wearing, and gives her a can of pepper spray. "Tomorrow, I'll get you a gun. Easy peasy in Nevada." Corey stares at her appalled. Kate smiles. "Just a small one, purse-sized. You're okay with that, aren't you? Or no?" Corey thinks of the thermos with acid printed on the side like Acme explosives in a cartoon. She thinks of the woman who thought she was Kate saying, "Here's what you have coming." She says, "I'm okay with it." 9. The Pioneer Center seats 1,500 and it's almost packed when Kate strides on stage at 7 p.m. prompt. The speakers blast out Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. Corey set that up at Kate's request. There is the usual loud applause, plus the usual lusty booing section. Outside, people are waving signs both pro and con. Inside, signs are verboten. There are men in the audience, but mostly it's women everywhere. Some are in tears, those who have come to the show, their hate and contempt for everything Kate believes in. Plenty of women there too. Boo from a sitting position. Some shake their fists. Many birds are hoisted. Instead of the Borsalino, Kate wears a Reno Aces gimme cap, which Corey also found. When it comes to the charming, the crowd, at least the part of it that can be charmed, Kate never misses a trick. She sweeps her hat off in her trademark deep bow. She's standing halfway between the podium and the cloth-draped easel. It looks like a courtroom exhibit. She takes the cordless mic from the cradle on the podium as effortlessly as a stand-up comedian about to begin her set. She pumps it at the ceiling. Woman power! The majority of the crowd responds, Woman power! Woman power! Let me hear you, Reno! Woman power! You can do better. Let me hear you. Woman power! Woman power! Crowd roars, and the boo birds are totally drowned out. The crowd is still on its feet, some bumping their fists, most still applauding. Corey thinks she lives for this. It feeds her. Is that a bad thing? Corey thinks not. She thinks it's that rarity, a true win-win. When the crowd settles, the boo birds cowed into temporary silence, which is part of the purpose of the call and response. Kate begins. You might be wondering why I'm not wearing my trademark hat, and you're probably wondering what this is. She taps the covered jumbo photograph on its stand. My hat is now in the evidence room of the Reno PD, because it was on my assistant's head when she was the victim of an assault. Gasps from the crowd. The boo birds sit stone-faced waiting. She was wearing my hat because it was raining. The assailant, a woman, thought it was me. She pulled my assistant into an alley and threw a liquid into her face from a thermos with the word acid printed on the side. More gasps, louder. The boo birds look uneasily at each other. Many of them, Corey thinks, probably wished they'd stayed home and watched something on Netflix. It wasn't acid. It was bleach. Not as bad, but bad enough look. She drops the cloth that was hiding the picture and hears Corey red-eyed and blotchy, hair all in a tangle. This produces more gasps than moans, and one loud cry of, Shame! The boo birds, so militant when Kate came on stage, seemed to be shrinking in their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to this brave woman. I gave her a chance after this cowardly assault to leave my tour and go back home to New England, but she refused. She means to continue, and so I do. Corey Anderson, please come out here and show these people that you're all right and full of fight. Corey, not feeling a bit full of fight, walks on stage in her blue dress and low heels. Hair done in a schoolgirl braid, makeup low-key. The audience leaps to its feet again, applauding and cheering. No boo birds now. They don't dare. The crowd is united. United for Corey Anderson from Ossipee, New Hampshire. And what does the object of this approving thunder feel? As they say on TV, it's complicated. But she thinks of that one lone voice that cried shame. And is that what she's feeling? That? Why would she? Kate gives her a hug and whispers, You done good. With that, Corey is released to go back off stage, and there's no question that she feels then relief. Kate may crave the spotlight, Corey does not. If she didn't know before, she does now. Ten. Not shame after all. The applause, that standing O, has clarified her mind, and Corey finds herself thinking clearly for the first time since the bogus redhead threw bleach into her open eyes and unprotected face. She goes back to the green room and calls the Spokane Police Department. The dispatcher switches her call to an Officer Rowley. Officer Rowley is a woman. That's good. Corey identifies herself and tells Rowley who she's working for. Rowley knows who Kate is. Most women of a certain age do. Corey tells Rowley that she and Kate will be in Spokane tomorrow. She tells Rowley what she wants and why she wants it. Officer Rowley, Denise, says she'll see what she can do and promises she'll text Corey as soon as possible. In the course of the conversation, they have become not sisters-in-arms, but at least chums. From the audience, faint in the green room, she hears the periodic thunder of applause as Kate makes her points. The haters are drowned out, but it only takes one, she thinks as she ends the call. I guess I knew that, but now I've... What? Internalized it, she murmurs. It wasn't shame at all. What she felt, standing beside that absurdly huge picture of herself and listening to the applause, was used. It doesn't make her angry, but it does make her realize she has to take care of herself. Has to grow up a little. A gun won't do that. Neither will pepper spray. 11. The next day, they drive to Spokane in Kate's Ford F-150 crew cab, their gear in back under a locked vinyl canopy. Kate is behind the wheel, keeping 5 over the 70-mile-per-hour speed limit, still high from last night. The radio is on loud. Alan Jackson singing about the Chattahoochee and what that muddy water meant to him. Corey leans over and turns it off. I'll keep the pepper spray, but I don't want a gun after all. Didn't have time to find one anyway, Kate says. We're slaves to the damn schedule now, hun. I've made arrangements with the Spokane police to have an off-duty cop with us while we're in town. He'll have a gun. The lady I spoke to, Denise, says there are always wide bodies who want to earn a little extra cash. You'll have to pay him, of course. Kate is frowning. I don't want. For the first time in their still new relationship, Corey interrupts her. I'll make similar arrangements as we go along. She gathers herself and says the rest, the bottom line. If you want me to continue, this is non-negotiable. It wasn't just a threat, Kate. Not some online troll with a potty mouth. The person said, go home while you still can. She's out to get you. She got me by mistake, and she could try again. Kate says nothing, but Corey can tell by the set of her mouth and the vertical line between her brows that she's not even close to happy about this. Call it what it is. This ultimatum. Kate McKay doesn't want to be perceived as a woman who needs a man to protect her. It's antithetical to everything she's made a career of standing against, but there's something else as well, and it's pretty simple. Kate McKay doesn't like anyone telling her what to do. She changes her mind when they check in. There's the usual budget of messages, a couple of bouquets, and 5 letters for our fan mail. The 5th contains a photo of Kate and Corey eating at an outdoor restaurant in Portland a day or 2 before the first gig. They're laughing about something. F-150 is parked at the curb in the background. There's a note carefully printed. You only get one warning, so receive it well. Next time it will be you, and it will be for real. She who speaks lies shall perish. Kate's name is printed on the envelope, but there's no stamp. She asks the desk clerk, who dropped it off. The clerk, a pretty young man in a white shirt and red vest, tells her someone must have left it while he was away from the desk, which probably means on a pee break. Don't you keep security camera in the lobby? Corey asks. Yes, ma'am, we sure do. But it's pointed at the front doors, not at the reception desk. Plus, whoever left it could have come in through the restaurant. Kate thinks this over, then turns to Corey. When is your rent-a-cop due? He'll meet me, both of us, if you want, in the lobby at 3 o'clock before I go to the venue to meet the event coordinator at the bookstore people. Kate holds up the photo and note, let's show him this, and then get a look at the security footage. See if the bitch made the mistake of coming in the front door. Good idea, Corey says. Now that she's gotten her way, she's back to being the meek, but can-do assistant. Bitch is actually following us, Kate marvels. Yes, Corey says, she is. Chapter 3. Trig expected bad dreams. He expected to see himself putting the gun to the woman's temple over and over again, on instant replay and in slow motion, the poodle looking up at her as she sagged in his encircling arm, its eyes asking, What's wrong with my mistress? There were no bad dreams, at least, that he can remember. He slept right through. Now he makes coffee and pours himself a bowl of cornflakes, sniffs the milk, decides it's all right, gives the cornflakes a bath, and sits down to eat. He stepped over the line and he feels okay about it. Fine, in fact. Best thing to do, he decides, is go to work like any other day, then move ahead with this real work. 1 down, 13 to go. He rinses out his bowl and leaves it in the sink. Pours more coffee into his insulated go-cup and leaves his trailer. It's a nice double wide in the Elm Grove Trailer Park, which is far out on Martin Luther King Boulevard, just like MLK becomes Route 27 and Uppsala County becomes Eden County. Sticksville, in other words. Mrs. Travers next door is loading her twins into the back of her car. She gives them a wave and Trig returns it. The kids are bundled into identical jackets because the morning is chilly. They just turned 3. Mrs. Travers had a birthday party for them the previous week, outside because the weather was warmer than it is now. She brought Trig a birthday cupcake, which was nice of her. The twins waved at him, little hands opening and closing. Pretty cute. There's no man in Melanie Travers' double wide, but the missus and her little bundles of joy seem to be doing all right. Trig guesses that she has a good job of some kind in the city, plus what some men call alimony. Trig would never call it that. He's a man who believes you must pay for your mistakes. His father raised him that way. Melanie's got a Lexus, not brand new, but a fairly recent vintage, so yeah, she's doing all right. Trig is glad for her. Also glad that he didn't meet her yesterday on the Buckeye Trail. If he had, she'd be dead now. Her children orphans. He follows her on his Toyota out to MLK, follows her as she turns right toward the city. 2 miles later, she turns left onto B Folks Daycare. Trig continues on, leaving the countryside behind. On the radio, the morning DJ is saying last week's warm weather was just a tease. A cold front is moving in, and the next few days are going to be chilly. Bundle up, Buckeyes, he says, and then plays A Hazy Shade of Winter by Simon and Garfunkel. Trig's stomach is rumbling. Apparently the cornflakes weren't enough. He thinks the murderer of a defenseless woman is hungry. A woman who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. A woman who might have children, maybe even twins, with matching coats. The man who did that is hungry. He's mildly amazed. He stepped over the line, and guess what? The other side of the line is no different. The idea of both terrible and comforting. He pulls into a Wawa on the outskirts of the city proper and buys a breakfast burrito. Also a newspaper. The stories above the fold are about politics and wars. Below the fold is the headline, Upriver Woman Slain on Buckeye Trail. Her next of kin must have been notified because her name is given, Annette McElroy, 38 years old. Trig reads the story while eating his burrito, which is warm and fresh and tasty. There's nothing in it to worry him. No mention of the paper with Letitia Overton's name on it, found in the dead woman's hand. The police will be withholding that piece of information. I'm wise to your tricks, Trig thinks. He heads for downtown, where he'll put in an appearance at the office and then leave early. Now that he's begun, he wants to continue. No need to hurry. Haste makes waste, but he's done plenty of scouting and knows where he can find another innocent, perhaps even 2. The cold weather will help. Two. Holly meets Izzy for lunch, but not in Dingley Park. It's too chilly for that. They eat at a little cafe called Tessie's, where they get a corner booth and can watch the pedestrians go by. In Love Plaza across the street, a busker in a motorcycle jacket is playing a guitar. He won't do much business today, Holly thinks. Sitting across from her, Izzy says, "Look at you, eating inside just like a big girl. You're coming out of your COVID shell, that's good." "I'm fully vaccinated," Holly says, looking at the menu. "COVID, flu, RSV, shingles, life has to go on." "Indeed it does," Izzy says. "I got the COVID and the flu vaccines together, and they laid me out for 4 days." "Better than being laid out in a funeral parlor," Holly says. "What do you suppose an Aussie melt is?" "I believe it's lamb with pepper jack cheese and some kind of sauce." "That sounds quite tasty. I think Bill Wilson wasn't just a random nut after all. He got one." Holly lowers her menu. "Are you talking about the McElroy woman?" She also reads the morning paper. She gets it on her iPad. "Yes, I'm not 100% sure, but in the high 90s. The waitress comes. Izzy goes for the Reuben. Holly the Aussie melt. They both order hot drinks. Tea for the cop and coffee for the private investigator. Holly has tried to quit coffee. Caffeine sometimes makes her heart jump, but she tells herself that quitting cigarettes is enough for now. When the waitress is gone, Holly says, "Tell me." "It stays between us, right?" "Of course." "We held back some evidence. There was a piece of paper in Annette McElroy's hand. Printed on it in block letters was a name, Letitia Overton. Does that mean anything to you?" Holly shakes her head, but files the name away for later consideration. "Me neither. Tom Ada and I have talked to Carrie Tolliver, the scumbucket who framed Alan Duffrey." "You think he really did that?" "I do. We also talked to Duffrey's colleagues at First Lake City, the bank where he worked. Every one of them said they never believed that pedophilia stuff in the first place. But what do you think they said when Duffrey was arrested and put on trial?" Holly likes to believe the best of people and does believe there's good in just about everyone. But her time at Finders Keepers has also taught her that just about everyone has a shitty streak. Most of them probably said, "There was always something weird about him, and I'm not a bit surprised." You bet they did. The waitress brings their drinks and says their food will be right out. Izzy waits until she's gone, then pushes her tea to one side and leans across the table. "We're assuming it's Duffrey who said this Bill Wilson off, but he could just be a wacko who thinks he's avenging Taylor Swift or Donald Trump or, I don't know, Jimmy Buffett." "Jimmy Buffett is dead," Holly feels compelled to add, although she knows Izzy is just making a point. "Annette McElroy's husband, who's totally grief-stricken, didn't even know who Alan Duffrey was, and says he's pretty sure his wife didn't either. He says they avoid the news as much as possible because it's all so bad." Holly can relate to that. The Alan Duffrey part doesn't matter though, does it? Wilson said he was going to kill innocents to punish the guilty. If Letitia Overton is guilty, at least in this guy's mind, you need to talk to her. "No kidding. She's a real person, lived at 487 Hardy, but no longer resides in the city. She and her husband moved to Florida, according to her neighbor. The neighbor thought Tampa or maybe Sarasota. Her husband got a better job, apparently. Regional manager for Staples, except it might have been Office Depot or Stats and things. We're running it down. Might have something tomorrow or after the weekend." "You've been busy." "This is a big deal because the nutbag is promising more murders." Izzy looks at her watch, then around for the waitress. "I've got 45 minutes, and then I have to re-interview the people from the bank. Plus, Duffrey's lawyer run a name Letitia Overton past them. Also Annette McElroy's name, but that's just busy work. McElroy was a target of opportunity." "An innocent?" Holly murmurs. She tries not to hate anyone, but she believes she could come to hate Bill Wilson. Only, why waste the emotion? It's Izzy's case. The waitress comes bearing sandwiches. Holly bites into her Aussie melt and finds it delicious. She thinks lamb may be the great overlooked meat. As a young woman, she went through a vegetarian phase, but gave it up after 8 months or so. She supposes she's a carnivore at heart, a hunter, not a gatherer. You said you knew a bartender who goes to those sober meetings? Izzy says. Would you be willing to talk to him? Happy to, Holly says. But keep it on the down low. I don't want the bras to find out what is it Leroy said? That I'm outsourcing our investigations. Holly wipes away a little sauce. Delicious. Then makes a zipping gesture across her lips. She says, when you track down Letitia Overton, would you let me know what she tells you? On the down low, of course. Absolutely. I have those re-interviews this afternoon. What are you doing? Looking for stolen jewelry. Much more exciting. Not really, just visiting pawn shops, Holly sighs. I hate that donkey. What donkey? Never mind. 3. The northeast part of Buckeye City is called Breezy Point. Here, the not-so-great lake the city is situated in gives way to shallow polluted water that cancer-friendly oil slicks dye every color of the rainbow. There are few breezes, but when they blow, they bring the stink of mud and dead fish. Breezy Point mostly consists of public housing. These are 4- and 5-story brick buildings that look a lot like accommodations at Big Stone, the state penitentiary. The streets all have tree names, which is sort of hilarious because few trees grew in the breeze. Every now and then on Willow Street or Mulberry Street or Oak Drive, the pavement splits and mud oozes up. Sometimes sinkholes big enough to swallow a car also open up. Breezy Point was built on a swamp, and the swamp seemed determined to take it back. Far out on Palm Street, a stupid name for a street in the breeze if there ever was one, there's a dingy strip mall with a Dollar Tree, a pizza shop, a medical marijuana dispensary, a Wallet's check-chasing store, where quick loans may be negotiated at outrageous interest rates, and a laundromat called the Washi Washi. This may be politically incorrect or downright racist, but the Breezy Pointers who use the place don't seem to mind. Nor do Dove and Frank, a couple of veteran winos who often cruise the strip mall for interesting leftovers and then plant their caddy lawn chairs behind the laundromat on chilly days like this one. It's 48 degrees in most of the breeze, but behind the Washi Washi, it's a balmy 74. This is because of the exhaust from the coin-op dryers. It's as pleasant as can be. Dove and Frank have magazines. Atlantic for Dove, Car and Driver for Frank. These were trash barrel finds from their latest scavenger run behind the pot store. In addition to the mags, they collected enough returnable cans and bottles to purchase a sixer of Fuzzy Navel hard seltzer. After a can each, they are starting to level out and enjoy life on life's terms. Where's Marie? Dove asks. Lunch break, I think, Frank says. Marie works in the Washi Washi and sometimes comes back to smoke a cigarette and be sociable. Look at this Dodge Charger. Is that nice or what? Dove gives a brief look and says, Fruits of capitalism always rot on the ground. What does that even mean? Frank says. Educate yourself, my son, Dove replies, although he is in fact 10 years younger than Frank. Read something that's not... He pauses as a man comes around the corner of Washi Washi. Frank has seen him before, although not recently. Hey man, didn't I see you at some of those meetings in Uppsala a few years back? Maybe the Shine at noon? I used to live up that way. I'd invite you to sit, but you don't have no chairs, Nart. Are currently occupied, Dove finishes. We'd ask you to share our current libation too, but unfortunately funds are low and we must conserve. That's all right, Trig says. And to Frank, I haven't been at the Shine at noon for quite a while. I guess those meetings weren't for you. Nope, I tried it. But do you know what? Sobriety sucks. I find it useful. Well, Frank says, it takes all kind to make a world. So they say. Have I seen you around before? Maybe at the Dollar Tree? It's possible. Trig looks around, confirms that they are unobserved, takes the Taurus out of his pocket and shoots Dove in the center of the forehead. Snap of the revolver, not loud to begin with, is lost in the steady swoosh of Dryer's exhaust. Dove's head rocks backwards, hits the cinder block wall between two of the metal ports, then drops into his chest. Blood trickles down the bridge of his nose. Hey! Frank says, looking at Trig. What the fuck was that for? Alan Duffrey, Trig says, and points the pistol at Frank. Sit still, and I'll make it quick. Frank doesn't sit still. He shoots to his feet, spilling his fuzzy navel all over his lap. Trig shoots him in the chest. Frank staggers back against the cinder block, then comes forward with his hands outstretched like Frankenstein's monster. Trig retreats a few steps and shoots 3 more times. Snap, snap, snap. Frank goes to his knees, then, unbelievable, gets up again. Hands once more outstretched. They are groping for something, anything. Trig takes time to aim and shoot Frank McBurrow, who once lived upstate and at one point had almost a year clean and sober in the mouth. Frank sits down in his lawn chair, which collapses and spills him onto the ground. A tooth falls out of his mouth. I'm sorry, you guys, Trig says, and he is, but only in an academic way. Killers in the movies say only the first one is hard, and although Trig guesses their lines were written by folks who were never killed anything bigger than a bug, it turns out to be true. Plus, these two were a drag on society, no good to anybody, he thinks. Dad, I could get to like this. Trig looks around. No one. He takes the folder containing the slips of paper from his pocket and thumbs through the names. He puts Philip Jacoby in Dove's hand, and Frank's hand he puts Turney Kelly. Do the police know what he's doing yet? If they don't, they soon will. Will they offer protection to those remaining once they figure it out? It will do them no good because he's not killing the guilty. He's killing the innocent, like these two. He walks around and on the side of the washy-washy, peeks, sees no one except for a man going into wallets to cash his check to get a loan. No sign of the lady who works in the laundromat. Once the wallet guy is gone, Trig walks to his Toyota, which is parked in front of an empty storefront with soaked windows and a sign in the door saying, For lease from Carl Cedal Real Estate. He gets in and drives away. 3 down, 11 to go. Seems like a mountain climb. When the atonement is complete and the amends are made, you can rest. So he tells himself. He goes back to his job. Little though it means to him. 4. 2 hours later, Holly Gibney walks into the drinking establishment called Happy. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but there are at least 20 customers, mostly men, sitting at the bar and imbibing their own drug of choice, which happens to be legal. Despite the establishment's name, none of them seems particularly happy. There's a baseball game on TV, but it's got to be an oldie because the team in the white home uniforms is the Indians instead of the Guardians. John Ackerley is behind the stick, looking hunky in a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to show muscular form. He comes over to her with a smile. Holly, long time no see. Your usual? Thanks, John, yes. He brings her a Diet Coke with 2 cherries impaled on a swizzle, and she pushes a 20 across the bar. No change required. Ah, fine with me. Is the game afoot? Yes and no. Are you still going to meetings? 3 times a week, sometimes 4. Tom Hogan. lets me off if it's an afternoon meeting. He owns the bar? Indeed he does. And Mr. Hogan values your expertise? I don't know about that, but he appreciates the fact that I always show up straight and sober. Why do you ask? She tells him what she wants in short bursts, interrupted by his trips to service various customers. One patron he cuts off. The guy argues briefly, then leaves, happy, looking blue. By the time Holly finishes, she's on her second Diet Coke and knows she'll have to use the women's before she leaves. She refuses to call it the ladies, just as she refuses to call her underwear panties. Little girls wear panties, but her little girl days are long gone. Holly is totally down with Kate McKay on what Kate calls advertising-driven infantilism of women. When she finishes bringing John up to speed, she says, "If this conflicts with your anonymity vow or whatever you call it, nah. If a guy confessed to a murder in a meeting and I believed him, I'd beat feet to the nearest police station and tattle my ass off. I think any old-timer would." "Are you an old-timer?" John laughs. "No way. Opinions differ, but most addicts would say you have to have 20 years to qualify as an old-timer. I'm a long way from that, but next month it'll be 7 years since I snorted my last line." "Congratulations! And working here really doesn't bother you. Don't they say if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you'll eventually get a haircut?" "They also say you don't go to a whorehouse to listen to the piano player. Only here I'm the piano player, if you see what I mean." Holly sort of does. And I never cared much for alcohol anyway. I was a firm believer in the idea that things go better with Coke, until they didn't. John goes down the bar to pour whiskey, then comes back to her. "If I may recap, you want me to keep an eye out for somebody who's mad? This Alan Duffrey got framed for a crime he didn't commit and then got shanked?" "Correct. You're pretty sure this somebody is, killing innocent people to throw shade on the guilty ones?" "Essentially, yes." "That's fucked up." "Yes." "This guy has already killed one innocent person?" "Yes." "You're pretty sure of that?" "Yes." "Why?" "Can't tell you." "Police holding something back, are they?" Holly doesn't reply, which is an answer in itself. "You think the guy goes to meetings because he calls himself Bill Wilson?" "Yes, and a guy calling himself Bill Wilson or Bill W. might really stand out." "He might, but you have to remember there are 36 NA meetings in this city every week. Add in the burbs and upstate, throw in AA, and you're talking close to 100. Needle in a haystack deal. Also, Bill Wilson is undoubtedly an alias. Undoubtedly. Even if it wasn't, people in the program sometimes use nicknames. I know a guy named Willard who calls himself Telescope. Another guy calls himself Smoothie. A woman who identifies as Ariel the Mermaid. You get the idea? What's your stake in this?" "None. It's a police case. I just got kind of interested." "That's my Holly. You're just another addict. Don't take that wrong. Most people are riding one pink horse or another." "Philosophy before gives 5 gives me a headache," she says. John laughs. "I'll give it a shot because now I'm sort of interested too. If anyone knows, it'd be Reverend Mike, a.k.a. Rev, a.k.a. Big Book Mike." "Who's that?" "Kind of a pain in the Catucus. The Rev lost his church because he was an oxy freak, but he must have gotten some kind of pension because his job now consists of going to meetings all over the city, from Sugar Heights to Lowtown. Also, Uppsala, Tapperville, and Upperville, but Holly, I'd say the chances reside somewhere between slim and none." "Maybe a little higher than that. People say all kinds of things in those meetings, right? Don't you folks say honesty in all your affairs? They do, and most people are, but halt. It's not lying if you just keep your mouth shut. This guy might not be able to, Polly thinks, remembering his note. Not to mention his alias. She thinks this guy sees himself as an avenging angel with the flaming sword, and people like that can't help popping off. It relieves pressure. She notices a sign behind the bar that shows an orange with a straw sticking out of it. An obviously tipsy hummingbird is hovering nearby. Below the orange it says, "Early bird special, your first screwdriver for $1, 8 to 10 a.m. Do people really come in for a vodka and orange at 8 in the morning? Polly asks. Girlfriend, John Ackerley says. You'd be surprised. Oof. Polly finishes her drink, then goes to the woman's room. There's a graffiti on the door of her stall that says, "Fuck the 12 days of Christmas." Someone was having a very bad day, she thinks. Probably last year when Ellen Duffy was still alive. She's in the act of pulling up her pants when an idea strikes her so hard that she sits back down with a thump, wide-eyed, and stares at the 12 days of Christmas. Oh God, she thinks. So obvious. I have to talk to Izzy. She begins to count on her fingers, lips moving. Outside John's bar, she calls Isabel James. It's a rule of her life that when you call someone with bad news, you always get them. When you call with good news or exciting news, you get voicemail. She's hoping this will be the exception that proves the rule, but it's not. She tells Izzy to call her as soon as possible, then goes in search of lost jewels, although right now jewelry isn't her priority. Duffy is not her case, but she's got her teeth in it anyway. Izzy checks her phone, sees it's Holly, and pushes dismiss. Not now, Halls, she thinks. The plan was for her and Tom to split up and do re-interviews, asking about Letitia Overton, but as John Lennon once said, life is what happens when you're making other plans. She met her partner outside the First Lake City Bank, and they were just about to go in when Lou Warwick called. I'm thinking Wilson may have gotten 2 more. He gave Izzy an address in Breezy Point. Now she's standing beside the washi-washi with a stout woman named Marie Ellis. Ellis, woman, is trembling and won't go around to the back of the laundromat. She says once is enough. I haven't seen a dead person since my Grammy, she tells Izzy. And at least Grammy died in bed. Tom is around the corner photographing the 2 dead men. The lawn chairs, one collapsed, the cans of fuzzy navel, and the container they came in. The forensics van will be here in short order with their cameras and brushes, but it's best to get pictures as soon as possible. Mary Ellis works as a cleaner, folder, changemaker, and all-around woman of work at the washi-washi. The men might have been murdered while she was at lunch, or not. Not is an idea that scares her to death. Even empty. The big dryers run for 5 minutes out of every 15. She doesn't know why, and they're noisy. If there had been gunshots, probably wouldn't have heard them unless they were very loud. She had a Twinkie in her smock for dessert, and once the last batch of clothes were folded, she went back to eat it and have a smoke. Because the dryer exhausts keep the area warm. She thought if the 2 winos weren't there, she could sit in one of the lawn chairs to eat her Twinkie. Only they were there, and they were dead. Do you know their names, Miss Ellis? One was Frank. I think he's the one on the ground, and the other one is Bruv or Dove or something like that. You didn't hear gunshots? Marie shakes her head. Those poor men, whoever did it. could have come in and shot me. I was all alone. You didn't see any? No, just them. She points around the corner, then jerks her hand back as if her finger were a periscope that might show her what she doesn't want to look at again. Tom comes back. Ma'am, you'll need to come down to the police station at Court Plaza to give a recorded statement, but not until later. Can you do 5 o'clock? Yeah, I suppose. For now, you can go back to work. Marie looks at him like he's crazy. I'm going home. I have a volume in the medicine cabinet. I'm going to take it. She looks at Tom defiantly as if daring the detective to contradict her. Do that, Izzy says. Can I have your address? Marie touches the loose skin under her neck. I'm not a suspect, am I? Izzy smiles. No, Marie, but we'll need that statement. Are you okay to drive? Yeah, I think so. When she's gone, Tom says, each of the decedents has a piece of paper in his hand. I could make out turn on one of them. What might be by the other guy? I was tempted to spread their fingers a little, but didn't. Probably just as well. We'll know soon enough. Is the lieutenant coming? He is. Tom glances around. Thank God there are no looky-loos. This is a zombie shopping mall if there ever was one. Of course, that means no witnesses either. Including Marie, Izzy says. You think she's lucky to be alive? I do, and I think she knows it. Izzy goes around the corner. The body of one man sits in his lawn chair with his head on his chest, as if sleeping. The other lies face down in the weeds, one cracked and dusty loafer against the laundromat's cinder-block wall. What a shitty place to die. At least they did die warm, Tom says. I brought 6 corpsicles to the morgue after that hard freeze we had in January. 2 with no IDs. 1 was a little kid. Excuse me a minute. She goes out to the sidewalk and sees that Holly has left a voicemail. It's 2 words. Just, call me. But Holly sounds excited. She's figured something out, Izzy thinks. Damn, that woman is so spooky. Sherlock Holmes in low heels, passed out blouses, and tweed skirts. Six. Holly finds some of the jewelry she was looking for at O'Leary Pawn and Loan on Dock Street. Being non-confrontational unless she absolutely has to be, Holly doesn't engage with Dennis O'Leary, who wants to argue and be all poppy. Or poopy. But simply photographs the sparklers and walks out. Let the insurance people take over. With or without police involvement, she'll get at least part of her bonus, and that makes her happy. Her phone rings as she's getting into her car. It's Izzy. Holly was excited in the women's room. Sure, she'd nailed at least part of the puzzle, but she has a tendency to second-guess herself, and now she hesitates. What if she's wrong? But Izzy won't laugh at her even if she is. In her heart, Holly knows this, and besides, I'm right. I know I am, she says and takes the call. What's up, Halls? Do you know how many different 2-digit combinations add up to 14? I don't know. Does it matter? 7. But only if you use 7 twice. 6 if you don't. And one of those combinations is 12 plus 2. Stop dancing around it, girl. I'm at a crime scene. Double murder. Bill Wilson work. Forensics van's on the way. Oh my God. He left names? Yes, but we can't read them. They're in the hands of the corpses, who were having a little hard seltzer party behind the laundromat in Breezy Point before the dirtbag showed up at John. We'll know what they are after The forensics people get here and do their thing. What are you thinking about? Have you located Letitia Overton yet? No, soon I hope. When you do, ask her if she was on the jury that convicted Alan Duffrey. Silence at the other end. Is? Are you there? Fuck, Iz whispers. 12 people on a felony count jury. That's what you're thinking? Yes, Holly says, then hastens to add, it's only a guess, but if you add in the judge plus the prosecutor, you get 14, Izzy says. It could only be 13. The letter isn't clear, maybe on purpose, but I think it's 14, or the guilty one could be Carrie Tolliver. That makes logical sense. She thinks that over and then says, Mr. Tolliver is dying, but it could still be him. I'll find out about Overton, also about the names these two dead men have in their hands. I can't say anything about this, Holly. If Lieutenant Warwick finds out, I'll put you in the loop. Holly runs a finger across her lips then, because Izzy can't see that. Mum's the word, but if it should prove out, the fish tacos are on you the next time we're in Dingley Park. Trig Beaver's away at work for the rest of the afternoon. He waits for the cops to come and arrest him for the double murder behind the washi-washi. He's sure he wasn't seen, yet the idea, the result of too many CSI episodes, maybe lingers, but his only visitor is Jerry Allison, the elderly head janitor in his building. Jerry feels he can drop by for a chat with Trig or anyone else any old time he likes, because he's been pushing a broom and waxing floors here since Reagan was president, as he's happy to tell anyone, and at length. After work, Trig gets in his car and drives 30 miles to Uppsala, where there's a meeting called the Twilight Hour that he sometimes attends. On the way, a marvelous thing happens. His free-floating anxiety lifts. His sense of doubt about his ability to complete his mission also lifts. Unless he makes a mistake, the police won't be able to find a trail leading to him, even if and when they realize what he's doing, because his targets are completely random. Yes, he knew about the Buckeye Trail, but so do thousands of others. Yes, he knew that those winos sometimes drank behind the laundromat because he saw them on one of his scouting expeditions after the death of Alan Duffrey, and Carrie Tolliver's horrible confession on that Buckeye Pardon Brandon podcast. There are only 11 to go. It is important to carry through. When he's finished, the world will know that when an innocent man dies, the innocent must also die. It's the only atonement that is perfect. Because then the guilty suffer, he says as he pulls into the parking lot at the Uppsala Congregational Church. Right, Daddy-O? Not that Trig's Daddy-O suffered, no. That was the son's job. I'll wait a bit before taking the next one. A week, maybe even 2. Give myself a breather and give them time to realize the why of it. In a way, that's funny because it's what he always thought about the drinking. I'll take a week off, stay sober, just to prove I can do it. This is different, of course it is, and the idea of taking time off lifts the weight from him. He goes downstairs to the church basement, where folding chairs have been set up, and the ever-present urn of coffee is chuffing out its pleasant aroma. His upbeat mood holds through the reading of the AA preamble and how it works. It holds through the reading of the promises, and after the rhetorical question, are these extravagant promises? He chants. We think not, along with the rest. It holds through the chairman's drunkalogue, which follows the usual pattern: rum followed by ruin, ruin followed by redemption. It holds until the chairman asks if anyone has a topic they'd like to discuss, and a burly man, someone Trig knows well, even though the burly man is in the front row and Trig himself is sitting in the back, raises his hand and lumbers to his feet. I'm Reverend Mike. Hi, Reverend Mike, the Rockies and druggies respond. Tell them you love God, but... I love God, but otherwise, I'm just another fiend. Reverend Mike says, and just like that, Trig's upbeat mood collapses. Maybe it was just a freak rush of endorphins. After all, he thinks. It's true that the Rev is apt to show up at any meeting, although rarely this far out in the wigglebacks. Always standing so everyone can see him, running his mouth, going on at great lengths. For him to be at the twilight hour just after Trig has killed the two winos, that seems like a bad omen. The worst omen. As Chapter 7 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous tells us, Rev then goes on to quote verbatim from said chapter. Trig disconnects from this and declamation. Judging by the glazed eyeballs he sees around him, he's not alone. But not from Rev himself. He remembers Reverend Mike catching him after a straight circle meeting sometime in late winter or early spring, saying Trig had sounded upset when he shared. How had he replied to that? It was hard to remember exactly, especially while Big Book Mike is still holding the floor and spreading the polysyllabus. Hadn't Trig said he'd lost someone very recently? Yes, and that part was alright. Only then he'd told the Rev that the someone he'd lost died in lockup. I didn't say that, except Trig is pretty sure he did. Even so, he'll never remember, and what difference would it make even if he did? But that was just a day or two after Alan Jeffrey died. It was in the paper, and if the Rev made the connection, how unlikely is that? Very unlikely, but unlikely isn't impossible. The Rev is finally sitting down. The gathering murmurs, thanks Reverend Mike, and the discussion finally begins. Trig doesn't share because he doesn't know what topic the Rev finally suggested when he finished blathering. Also because he's focused on those broad shoulders and balding head. Trig is thinking he might kill a fourth one after all before taking some time off. Just to make sure the unlikely doesn't happen, and really, it was more innocent than a recovering addict, a fiend who loves God. An unworthy thought comes to him, but it's also an amusing thought, and he covers his mouth to hide a smile. Shutting him up would be doing the recovery community a favor. After the meeting, Trig shakes the Rev's hand and tells him how much he enjoyed listening to him. They talk for quite a while. Trig confesses to the Rev that he's having a serious problem making amends, then listens patiently while the Rev quotes verbatim from Chapter 5 of the Big Book. We must be willing to make amends, for we have done harm, provided we do not bring about still more harm in so doing. So on and so forth, blah blah blah. I need some counseling about this, Trig says, and watches his Big Book Mike almost visibly expands. They make an appointment for Trig to stop by the Rev's little house at 7 p.m. on the 20th. It's near the rec center. I'll find it. Unless, the Rev says, you think you might drink over it, then you come tomorrow, or even right now. Trig allows that he'll be okay until May 20th, mostly because he doesn't want to continue his mission so soon. He grips the Rev's meaty arm. Please don't talk about it to anyone. I'm ashamed of needing help with this. Never be ashamed of reaching out, the Rev says, his eyes sparkling with juicy disclosures to come. And believe me, I won't say a word. Trig believes this. Reverend Mike is a bore and a windbag, but he's also good AA. Trig has heard him declaim from the Big Book ad nauseum, but never a story or even an anecdote about a fellow sufferer. The Rev takes that end of meeting command. What you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here, very seriously, which is good. while the murderer of Annette McElroy, Dove Epstein, and Frank Mitborough is attending an AA meeting in Uppsala, Isabel James is in her cubicle at 19 Court Plaza, calling Letitia Overton. Tom Ada located her through Overton's ex-sister-in-law, who said she only had Letitia's number because she forgot to delete it from her contacts. She called Overton that bitch, but the soft-voiced woman who answers Izzy's call doesn't sound in the least bitchy. Izzy identifies herself and asks where Overton is currently located. I'm at the Trellis Apartments in the town of Wesley Chapel. It's in Florida. Why are you calling, Detective James? I'm not in trouble, am I? About that thing? Well, what thing would that be, Miss Overton? The trial. Oh, I'm sorry about what happened, but how were we to know? Poor Mr. Duffy. It's just awful. Izzy has what she called for, but wants to make absolutely sure. Just to be clear, you were on the jury that convicted Alan Duffy of a third-degree felony, to wit, trafficking in pornographic material involving the sexual exploitation of a child or children? Letitia Overton begins to cry. Through her tears, she says, "We did the best we could. We were that jury room for almost 2 days. Bunny was the last to give in, but a bunch of us talked her around. Are we in trouble?" In a way, yes, and in a way, no, as he thinks. Is she going to tell this woman who did the best she could with the evidence she had that a woman was found murdered with Overton's name in her dead hand? Chances are excellent that she'll find out eventually, but Izzy isn't going to tell her now. No, Miss Overton, Letitia, you're not in trouble. Do you know who else was on that jury? Remember any of the names? There's a hearty sniff, then Overton speaks again. She sounds a little more in control of herself. Maybe because the detective calling from her old hometown has told her she's not in trouble. We didn't call each other by name, by our names, only our numbers. Judge Whitterton was very strict about that because of how sensitive the case was. He said in other trials there had been death threats. He mentioned one about a man who killed an abortion provider. Maybe to scare us. If so, it worked. We have these stickers we put on our shirts. Mine said Juror 8. Izzy knows that the identity of the jurors in the high-profile cases, and Duffy's was front-page news, is often kept from the press, but she's never heard of it being kept from the jurors. But, ma'am, Letitia, weren't you called up for Dyer by name? You mean the questions they ask when they took our names out of the pool before Izzy can answer? Overton bursts out. I wish to God I'd never been picked, or that one of the lawyers had said, she won't do. I totally understand, Letitia. It's just that the usual procedure is for the court clerk to call out the names of the jurors who might be. Oh yes, they did that. But then Judge Whitterson said, this was even more before the trial started, that he wanted us to forget our names, like, you know, when he said a few times during the trial that the jury should disregard what just got said because it was improper for some reason, although that was very hard to do. Do you remember any of the names? Bunny, of course. I remember her because at the end she was the last one holding out for not guilty, and because at the beginning she said, I'm Belinda, but everyone calls me Bunny. And the foreman juror one said, no names. And Bunny put her fingers over her mouth and popped her eyes in a funny way. Bunny always had a smile or a joke. Izzy writes Belinda, aka Bunny, on her pad. Anyone else? Although she wonders why exactly she's asking. The jurors aren't the targets, after all. There was a guy named Andy, another one named Brad, I think. I'm sorry, that's the best I can do. It was a long time ago, almost 3 years. I'm sure there's a list somewhere. Don't you have it? Not yet, Izzy says. clerk of courts is on vacation, and Judge Witterson says he doesn't remember. He sees lots of juries. There's a tinge of alarm in Letitia Overton's voice as she says, "Is someone out to get us?" "No, ma'am, not at all." Izzy's glad to say it. Overton's ex-sister-in-law may think Letitia's a bitch, but based on this phone conversation, it's not Izzy's opinion. "I'm going to let you go back to whatever you were doing, but before I do, tell me if the names Turner Kelly and Philip Jacoby mean anything to you." "Yes, Turner was on the jury. The other one, I'm not sure of. He was juror 6, I think, and Bunny were talkative. She was 10. Some of the others were more like listeners, you know. Philip Jacoby, yeah, he might have been one of those, more listener than a talker, I mean. You said it took you 2 days. Why so long? I would have thought based on the evidence I was open and shut." Mr. Duffrey's lawyer kept saying that all of the evidence could have been planted. I think he even mentioned that man Tolliver who wanted the job that Mr. Duffrey got. He was very good. The district attorney, I guess he was actually the assistant district attorney, said that was unlikely because Duffrey's fingerprints were found on the magazines that were hidden behind his furnace. Still, there were 2 or 3 who thought the case wasn't proved beyond reasonable doubt. Bunny was one. Number 7 was another. She was another woman. Were you one of the holdouts? Another water sniff. No. Those images, the ones on Duffer's computer, convinced me it's so horrible. One I'll never forget. A little girl with a doll. She had bruises on her arms. Juror 9 pointed those out, but that little girl was still trying to smile. To smile! Izzy has everything she needs, and she could have done without the last, the bruised girl with a doll. No wonder they convicted him, she thinks. No wonder he got shamed. She thinks Overton. "You promise we're not in trouble or any danger?" "None whatsoever. I came down here to start a new life, Detective. My husband was mean. But when I listened to Buckeye Brandon's podcast about how Alan Duffy was framed, it seemed like that old life was following me. I can hardly eat, thinking about what we did to that poor man." "It was a miscarriage of justice, Letitia. They happened." "What is this about?" "I'm not free to go into details, sorry. I'm gonna go back to my maiden name," she says. "I don't like this one anymore." Izzy says she understands and means it. She's been through bad marriages herself. She rings off and calls Tom Adam after she's recapped her conversation with Letitia Overton. He says, "Now we know. Jurors, judge, prosecutor, pack your bags, guys. Bill Wilson's sending you on a guilt trip." "What he's doing is so pointless," Izzy says. "The woman I talked to feels plenty of guilt already. God knows how much more she'll feel when she finds out Annette McElroy is murdered for her sins. At least her sins in the eyes of this Bill Wilson freak." "Overton will be an outlier," Tom says. "Most of the others, that jury, won't feel bad at all. They'll say they followed the evidence, rendered a verdict, and won't lose any sleep over it." I hope that's not true. But when they finally get all the names of the Alan Duffy jury, it turns out that it pretty much is. Chapter 4. Although it's nominally a tour for Kate McKay's new book, A Woman's Testament, the publisher has had nothing to do with planning the dates. Kate is an old hand when it comes to scheduling and thus getting the biggest bang for her buck. The dates are far apart at the start of a tour, but they'll speed up including a few one-nighters. She told Corey it's like a prize fight. You fill out your opponent, then move in and start pummeling. On May 10th, the gig is at Denver's Ogden Theater, which seats 1,600 or so. Corey has 9 a.m. coffee with the venue's event coordinator, who assures her Kate will fill almost every seat. This is no doubt helped by the fact that there is no actual admission charge, although the book, Random Copies Autograph, will be on sale. The women have connecting accommodations high up in the Brown Palace Hotel. Quiet and luxy, Corey says. I've actually got a bidet. Kate laughs. Enjoy it while you can. It's apt to be off downhill from here. Corey finishes with the coordinator at 9:30. She's got a meeting back at the hotel with a bookseller from the tattered cover at 10:30. The woman will arrive with 200 copies of A Woman's Testament to sign. While Kate signs, Corey will meet with a security person who will be with them until they leave town, bound for Omaha. His name is Brian Bull Durham. He'll be joined by 2 more off-duty cops who will be with them from the time they leave for the gig until they're back at the hotel. Corey arranged for Durham ahead of their arrival. The extras come courtesy of the Ogden's event coordinator. News of Corey's adventure in Reno is spread. No one wants the famous Kate McKay attacked, or, God forbid, assassinated. On their watch, at 3 p.m., Corey will be back at the hotel, readying a meeting room for the press conference where Corey herself will be asked many questions about what happened in Reno. She would much prefer, to stay in the background, but Kate insists, and Kate is the boss. Corey tells herself she doesn't resent being Kate's show pony. It's going to be a busy day. She'd like to have a few minutes to herself before meeting the bookstore lady. She needs to pee, for one thing, but when she sticks her head into Kate's suit to see if the boss needs anything, she realizes, meantime, will have to wait a little longer, because the boss is having a full-bore Katie McKay tantrum. They aren't common, and Corey has discovered they're basically harmless. It's how Kate blows off steam. Corey tries to not find this annoying or self-indulgent. She reminds herself that Kate is right. Men are allowed to holler all the time. When in doubt, they scream and shout. But Corey still doesn't like it. It wasn't the way she was raised. Motherfucker, cunt, liquor, bitch, kitty! You have to be fucking shitting me! Kate looks up and sees Corey standing in the doorway, mouth open. Kate tosses her phone on the couch and brushes her tousled hair away from her face with the backs of her hands. Gives Corey a razor-thin smile. So how's your day going? Better than yours, I guess, Corey says. Kate goes to the window and looks out. Have you ever noticed that the best curses, the most effective curses, always center on women and their parts? Motherfucker, to commit incest with one's own progenitor used to be the queen of curses, and even overuse hasn't entirely robbed it of its power. And cunt? Is there an uglier word? It's a goddamn blunt instrument, even cow. At least the way British use it. How about cocksucker? Kate waves a dismissive hand. An equal opportunity vulgarity. Scumbag? But Kate has lost interest. She's looking out at the Rockies with her hands stuffed deep into the pockets of her Lafayette slacks. What's wrong? We lost our venue in fucking Buckeye City. Why are we finding this out so late? Because they were scared. Cowards. Buckeye City cowards. From now on, I don't even want to say the name. From this point forward, it's just the one that's not Cleveland. Cora doesn't even need to consult her notes. Domingo? She's astounded. Yeah, that's the one. Some soul-singing diva comes out of retirement and we get bumped? Then, grudgingly, okay, so it's not just some diva, it's Sister Bessie. And she's great. Listen to her all the time when I was a teenager. The sister? Really? Love you all night? That sister? Kate gives her a sour look. She's terrific, no doubt, but we still get bumped, which pisses me off. I can't call Sister Bessie a cunt, but the people who knocked us off the schedule, them I call cunts. Them I call motherfuckers. Corey keeps all the tour info on her laptop and her tablet, but she doesn't need to go into her connecting room to get either of them. She's got the tour, at least the Midwestern part of it, by heart. They can't do that, Kate. I've got a contract. She's a great singer, no doubt, but that date is ours, May 31st. Kate points to her phone, which is half buried between two couch cushions. Read the event coordinator's email if you want. Cowardly fucking cockknocker. Didn't even have the guts to call me. He quotes the extraordinary circumstances clause in the contract. Corey rescues Kate's phone from its semi-intermittent taps in the code and looks at the email from Donald Gibson, the Mingo's program director. Phrase, extraordinary circumstances, is there, all right. Now Kate's tantrum seems justified. Corey's pretty mad herself. The nerve. This is bullshit. Extraordinary circumstances means a flood or a blizzard or a citywide blackout. Extraordinary circumstances would be if the damn building burned down. It doesn't mean Sister Bessie. It wouldn't even mean the Beatles if they decided to get back together. They can't, Kate says, beginning small. 2 out of 4 ain't rocking no more. Well, even if they did and decided to play the Mingo, and they're scraping us for a date we made months in advance, ridiculous. I'm calling the Gibson person and setting him straight. Well, girl, slow your roll. Smell is stronger now, and a tiny bit indulgent. The steam has been blown off. Thus thinking can recommence. Sister Bessie's not the Beatles, but she's a big deal. The woman hasn't performed a full-on concert in 10 or 12 years, let alone done a tour. She's a legend, also. She happens to be black. We got some good press after that bitch scared you. She did more than scare me. That hurt. I'm sure it did, and I'm sure I'm being crass, but ask yourself what happens if I enforce my contract lawyers at all against Sister Bessie. In a city that's 40% black, how do I look if she says, sorry, we had to cancel. White lady enforcer, her contract took our date. How will that look? How will it sound? Rory thinks it over, and her conclusion makes her angrier than ever. He knows that, right? This Donald Gibson person knows that. You bet. He fucked us at the drive-thru, honey. He also fucked the people we're gonna see, Rory thinks. It doesn't say. So what do we do? Rearrange. Corey's heart sinks. She worked hard to fine-tune the schedule, and now Kate wants to trash it, now that it's Kate's fault? Putting her hands on Corey's shoulders, Kate says, you can fix this. I have total confidence in you. Flattery will get you nowhere. Nevertheless, Corey is flattered. The event coordinators in most cities will go along for. It would be different if the summer concert season had started, but it hasn't. Most of those halls are standing empty except on weekends also. We have 3 days off after Cincinnati, right? Yes. Suppose we take those off days on not the Cleveland instead, and we go see Sister Bess. How does that sound? It actually sounds pretty cool. Listen, Kate, you've got that presser at 5. What if you were to say that in solidarity with your black sisters and because you love Sister Bessie's music, you're giving up your date at the Mingo so the sister can play? If Donald Gibson says that wasn't my idea, Corey smiling, do you think he'd dare? Kate kisses Corey, first on her cheek, then the other. You're good, Anderson. Very good indeed. And I think our new friend Donald will be happy to provide us with house seats for Sister's first show. Do you concur? Corey, smiling more wisely than ever, says she absolutely does. Plus, backstage passes. He better add those. And then with great satisfaction, that scumbag. Well, boys and girls, it appears it is the end of our show for this evening. Thank you so much once again for hanging out with me tonight. It was my pleasure hanging out and hopefully entertaining you in your hearing earballs. Thank you to all my friends out there, wherever you may be listening, Beyond The Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm going to say Saturday. We'll probably do some trippy TikToks to break up the monotony, because I just can't get enough. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together, we can make the world better, and together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. Please don't forget to send out some prayers and positive energy for our friends in Nepal and China and Tibet and UK, Australia, all the places, India, where people were visiting from that are missing. And don't forget about my friend Billy, who has a really bad brain injury from a moped accident he had, I believe, in the Philippines. Let me double check that. I stand corrected. It was Thailand. The link is GoFundMe. So GoFund.me/83857C8CA. Billy Saga Recovery Fund. 99. Love you, night.